Cuba, 1958. A proud people, happy to live under the Batista regime, who took great pride in their heritage of sugarcane farms, tobacco, mob-run casinos, Cadillac dealerships, hookers, and syphilis. Then came the specter of Comunista. Leaving Cuba with only the heritage of sugarcane farms, tobacco, European-run casinos, hookers, and syphilis. Since that time, only one true Cuban savior burst forth from the Virgin Mary's papaya and lowered gingerly to earth by angels on a silken pillow of freedom. No, not that little waterlogged puke alien, but the real baby Jesus who sits on the moist hand of God. Jorge to you, Rodriguez. Adore him as you would Christ, or be struck down by the mighty gods of Hakahoist. The baby Jesus is here, and you are there.
Hang on, Kent Wallace. We got to play spectacles.
Okay.
Don't go away. Wouldn't be a George show without all these technical difficulties.
Yeah.
I'm going to play all your songs.
Half a woman, half a man, I never distortions. You're half your mother, half your dad, I never distortions. Well, I bring birds, and then I find never distortions. You're half a woman, half a man. Oh, well, Joey, he's so keen. A real windmiller, he's oh so mean. Joey, oh Joey, oh what I do. Oh, what I do. Separated, red for you and blue for me. And on the school bus, they got two sides, one for the girls and one for the boys. Oh, the toys. You know, toys, no wonder we can never play together. That's okay. Half a woman, half a man. Oh, Joey, he's so keen. A real winddigger, he's oh so mean. Joey, oh, Joey, oh, what I do. Oh, what I do.
This song goes on way longer than I think it ought to. I'm talking into a dead microphone. There we go. Kent Wallace. How about yours? I don't think your mic is on at all there. Yeah, we tested everything before the show as usual. The audience is really tired of that song too.
You hear me?
This is the Spectacles. This is Kent Wallace's band. It's as I continue to try to justify your presence on the show. I don't think I'm doing a very good job. Because there it is. That's you. And if you think it sounds whack, you should see. And there's a video. They could just go on there and Google.
Yeah, that was
Wallace.
from a long time ago. That was 79.
Yeah. What a fun time I bet that was.
Yeah, it was pretty
wild. A lot of coke, I bet.
Lots of everything.
Sure. Mr. Married to a porn star.
Yeah, well, that was a long time ago, too. I'm as clean as a whistle.
What? Yeah, you got tested and everything.
Oh yeah, multiple times. People won't even shake my hand unless I provide a test.
I would just wear rubber gloves if I were you. like the and a mask, maybe
And
a
a
mask.
mask.
Well,
Yeah, I got
I've
a
heard that
Michael
about you. I've
Jackson
heard that
mask.
you've worn masks lots of times. Now I got a new mic boom over here, and I don't know if I like it.
It doesn't seem
my
to
microphone
behave.
drifts. It keeps drifting. I
not
guess that's where it
behaving.
wants to be. Welcome to the show, Kent Wallace. I wasn't going to do a show today because I've just been really lazy lately. My new schedule is it's called When I Feel Like It. I'm doing a radio show, that is, and it's a great schedule, being your own boss, so you can do that. But I'm doing this especially. I did this especially for you,
Well,
because for a lot of reasons, and it has nothing to do with your singing. I think I just proved that. Although we're going to play that, we're going to play more of the Spectacles music for the rest of the show for a lot of reasons, and we'll promise to the audience that I
Warn
won't
them in
play
advance.
entire songs,
That
like
way they
maybe
can go
half
to the
of it,
bathroom.
like maybe a verse and the chorus, so they can get the feel of it, and maybe fade out during the diminish, during the big guitar solo, like like that was. And
That was cool.
interrupt ourselves with that. That's a very because I listen to music a lot, and back when I was in radio, not so much anymore, people would send me their demos to give it a listen, and I would find myself critiquing the production more than anything else. For a lot of first that wouldn't hurt their feelings. Like I would say, you need a little bit more production, man. It's like there's no bass in here. It's like I can't hear the bass, or it's muddy, or something like that. Because they could tell, oh yeah, that's very good. That would also get me off the hook for telling them what I thought about their music, because that was
Keep it technical.
some of it was bad, and then they wouldn't just have their feelings hurt, but some people would argue with you about that. Like, what do you mean?
You don't get it, man.
It's
You
like
just don't get it.
said I would say you play your instruments very well, but you don't have any good songs.
Yeah,
or
it's-
any
that's-
songs
that's hard to hear.
that I think are good. And it's for me, it's all about the hook. That's
that's
what's worth $1 million right there. You either arrange notes in an order that makes the person feel good, who's listening. That's something that they want to whistle, and then it can be any genre, right? I don't even. Are you on? There we go.
Yeah, I'm
I
on.
don't even know that much. It can be any genre. And they even talk about that in the movie Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow.
Yes, which is a
Movie of color.
a tale of I was gonna say a tale of budding youth, like Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn, a la Mark Twain.
Yes.
But they were far
But
from you.
and this is the movie where we learned how hard it is out there for a pimp. Something
Yeah,
all
it's
of us
just,
knew. Kent Wallace knew that.
Yeah.
Has always known that. He knew that, before the actors in Hustle and Flow were born. But they're talking about the hook.
Was this the first or the second?
You need
match?
it like the hook, the first one. But the hook is they talk. You got to have a hook. You can be the biggest, baddest rapper in the world, but your song isn't going to sell if you don't have the pretty girl singing the melody in the middle there.
Tupac said it best.
What did he say?
He said, "Well, you worry about the girls, and the guys will follow the girls."
Right.
So,
Right.
and that
there
starts
you
with
go.
the
Well,
hook.
that's how bars
So, Kent, well,
typically
did
operate.
you have girls in your band, or is that just were you the hair
Well, no,
guy?
we had this band morphed into another band, and we did have a girl. We had a girl keyboard player at one point, but
Yeah, because
there
I would
were-
go see you for that. If you had a girl keyboard
Julie,
player.
the keyboard player.
But that's what I was tell these bands. It's like you really need to write an original melody that's hit worthy or single worthy.
Yeah.
Hate to say that, but you don't have anything there that I would really
Yeah,
care to
yeah,
hear.
no. Well,
there's
it
nothing there that I would care to
that's
hear
why
again.
It never. But ironically, the song
For the people.
you played, the Animal
Yeah.
Distortions, is once this came out. There's a station. Foothill Junior College, and I'm trying to remember what their letters are, but they were big when we were young, and it was like the most important, what do you call it, alternative music station around back in the day during the punk rock era, and it's still around. And so we sent them the thing, and actually that song, Anima Distortions, made the playlist for like 2 weeks running from the students, which was a great honor 30 years later. At the time, though, that we couldn't, they wouldn't play anything of ours. I think they just felt bad. They said, "Are these freaking people still sending in their demo?"
Was it?
God.
I didn't get the feeling that you were taking it all that seriously as I was listening to your music. It sounds like you were having more fun.
Well, we were a fun
Then,
band.
yeah.
We were that's what we did, shows like the Bible Barbecue and Marie Antoinette's birthday. We that's why we were the Spectacles. Dirk Dirksen, who
Sure.
ran the Mabuhay Gardens, wanted us. We put on. We just like to create spectacles, and that's what it was.
Right.
And we were not loved by the punks. I had long hair. We typically tried to piss them off. So
Okay, I didn't know, because a lot of bands that that went on to be very popular bands started out as a LARF, just a bunch of friends screwing off. Like, hey,
well, the guys were
let's
pretty
pluck
serious.
away at some instruments,
Yeah.
as opposed to some people. It's like, we're going to be a band and we're going to be the best band and we're going to rehearse.
Well, everybody
and we're going to
wants.
fill
I don't care what
stadiums
anyone
and
says so. Everybody wants to get at least an album out. Even back then, in the punk scene was that was the antithesis of what was happening in music.
I've heard
It was all
interviews
hair bands.
with Quiet Riot and even the Talking Heads that it was just something we were doing.
Devo.
It was just something we were doing, just futzing around. When the Quiet Riot, they would do keggers, they would do parties.
Sure.
There was a party band, and the lead singer said we had absolutely no aspirations to be anything more than that. They were like in med school or something. They were on their way to being doctors or something. And they said, yeah, so we all played. We were in band and we played, and they did covers because that "Come On Feel the Noise" is a cover. And they did that, and somebody heard it. Somebody was at one of the parties and signed them and said, "Hey, how would you like to be like a for real rock band?" And I went, "Really? Okay, cool. Sure." And Talking Heads, they were just friends playing for their friends, and everybody's like, you guys really, wow.
Devo?
Sure, of course I remember Devo.
First, you talk about a hook.
I'm the biggest Devoant there is. I have all of their recordings right there in the computer that Jack has. If he puts Devo in, the whole thing will break. Try Media Monkey. Play something off of something. Let's see if your computer's working. Yeah?
Yeah.
Play something.
Pile of crap.
There you go. All right. Well, get that break ready. Now I feel comfortable. Now I feel like I can stop talking. I don't have to stop talking. We might not take a break all goddamn day.
Yeah, no, I think we should
Kent
go
Wallace, ladies and gentlemen, he's a talking fool, which is, and we're going to get into Art Walk and Cahoots and everything very
Art Walk.
Very almost immediately. But first is how I was born. Get it? But first.
But first.
There
was the word.
How's it? Because I really think you should have a show here, because I don't think that being a guest on my show, you've got quite the resume. I don't think being a guest on my show does you justice. I think
want to get a show here.
I think you've got way more shit inside of you than my show can contain.
Well, we want to.
I think my show is just bursting at the seams with Kent Wallace due, and I think that. I think we need to.
He's really selling it.
We need to shunt some of that shit into its own space there. I really think that
an hour a week.
You've got enough BS to sling.
I can do it.
That once a month doesn't do you justice.
It
just you're just scraping the tip of the turd there when you're talking about Kent Wallace.
An outrage.
And the guest appearances on the George Rodriguez show. But it's a joy. You say it's Art Walk. We got to do a show, and I said,
well, we do, because
we do have to be a show. I think
one of the most important
you're good for ratings.
Activities in all of Hollywood. It's what's sort of beginning to define this town, is that it's embraced the arts. It's pulsating. It's sweating art.
It is, and it's giving Wynwood a run for its money, and I think I like that about Hollywood, and I like living here right now. I don't want to, I'm going to suck a city's ass right now, but I really like it here. And even though that I think artists are a bunch of fakers, and we can talk more about that later, and there's a bunch of leeches on society. Other people like them, and they pretty up the place.
They do.
They pretty up the place kind of nice.
Pretty it up.
And they bring people, naive people with more money than sense into the area, and then everybody gets to benefit from these pretentious posers that come here to
and their berets,
to look at and their berets and their espressos and their skinny mustaches, and what they do is they stand there and they have one arm in front of their chest like this, and then their elbow resting on the back of the one arm there, and they're holding their drink,
their Chardonnay.
They're holding their Chardonnay, and they're gesturing at the piece that they're talking about as they talk with their molars clenched. Okay. Well, my impression of and they say things.
They have the words. There's buzzwords, but at the end of the day,
every once in a while
becomes a little overdone and pretentious eventually. So if you're going to get stuck with an identity. I'd rather, be the place where, an artsy sort of environment than one. It could be sports. It could
sure.
Be
well, that's the thing. That's like, I don't watch the men play games.
Restaurants or polo or some shit. Hey.
We have here on my humble little radio station. We have 4 sports shows, and we broadcast the games of 2 sports teams. So
that's awesome.
And it's that's not for me, but I want my
Diversity.
station to be very much like Hollywood, to be an all-inclusive place where people can come in and have a good time. And is that what I've said? It's good that we're not all into the same things. Or everywhere we went, it would be crowded, and it would be impossible.
Yeah,
right. If everybody was into the same thing, we'd all be at the same thing at the same time. Yeah, no, I don't want your amateur ass at the roller rink all in my way.
Exactly.
When I'm trying to
dig in the music that one guy
I'm
plays,
I'm in a groove,
swell.
And here's a slow rolling wall of meat in front of me, smelling a Chardonnay.
So
they just came from an art show.
You got to deal with both DJ Douchebag and Kid.
DJ Douchebag.
That's right.
And the slow-moving obstacle course. It's bad enough with the little kids, the kamikaze kids, I call them, the Suicide Squad. These little kids, they will hook left right in your path. They'll fall, and then they'll crawl into your path like, oh, here's a guy going to be skating by me. Let me leap into his path like a sandbag over here. And it's all part of the fun. See if you can get out of there without having to fill out a police report on a Sunday afternoon.
Swell.
Yeah, ask me how many times I've had to contribute to a police report because I slammed into a little kid full speed. Ask me how many times. Go ahead, ask me.
How many?
Once.
Well, at least you got
it. Was listen, recipe for disaster. Insurance companies dominate everything we do.
Oh.
And here we are at the roller rink with all these stupid rules, like you can't wear a hat. Because the hat might go flying off and somebody trip over the hat and fall. No flash photography, you might blind someone. They crash into the wall. Just so many things, so many cockamamie things. But they have this thing called the glow skate on Sunday afternoons, and it's interior. There's no windows, where they turn off all the lights, and the only thing that you can see are the glow items hanging on the children's neck in front. So there was a little girl wearing all black, like black pants, long black sleeves. I think she was a Muslim. Long black. So everybody's going to cheer when I get to the part where I hit her. Long black hair, and I'm skating around backwards, and I look around the corner, and I see that there's nobody on the floor, I think. And I just open up, and wham, next thing you know, we're both flying through the air, corkscrewing through the air, landed on her head.
Hey.
Daddy called the police. Yeah, it was horrible. It's horrible. They turned the lights out, Ken Wallace.
Well,
like
but are they allowed to do that anymore now? Or
they still do. They still do that.
Good.
It's just a matter of time. I think let's do that thing where we do the on-purpose lawsuit thing.
Yeah.
You can go during the glow skate, all right, and then I'll run into you.
Perfect.
All right, and then you sue the roller rink.
I will.
All right, let's do it.
Sue them all.
Cha-ching.
Sue the bastards.
Absolutely. So the art walk, it's Saturday?
Saturday, tomorrow night.
Right.
Third Saturday, and as always, there's just activity. Every galleries, the restaurants, shops, they've got the mime, the human statue, and music on the street corners. There's some great new galleries. Like 2014 is when you look at it. Since I've been here for 6 months, the level of the art is just growing. It's very exciting. It really is. And Brenna and Larry Joe down at the Arts Park,
right?
Interactive.
At One Young Circle.
At One Young Circle.
Larry Joe's
I go down there. I can bring an egg roll. It's unbelievable.
Man, I want. Cause Larry's like 100, right? So can I be put in his will where I inherit that address for SoFlo Radio? That would just be stupendous.
So cool, man.
And people can walk by.
Yeah, that's the next stop.
Like people could be walking by and looking at us right now because they are. Well, here the live webcam on SoFlo Television.
I think that should be the strategy. Okay, we start off in downtown Hollywood.
Okay.
Then One Young Circle. Yeah. And eventually we're actually going to be on the beach on the Broadwalk. What do you think?
On the beach would be very nice. I want to be. Can we be on a beach in like some kind of a abandoned oil rig?
Like way out there,
offshore
like
somewhere.
School radios.
Hey, how about this? Right outside the international line.
Yeah.
So that we can gamble and do white slavery.
That'd be awesome.
And I say white slavery, Jack. It's not like I'm trying to do you a favor, but the black slavery thing is just
about time we do white slavery.
It's just so cliche. It's just cliche anymore. It's been done, been there, done that. Got the T-shirt, the Confederate flag T-shirt. I'm talking about.
Of course.
If you're wearing a Confederate flag T-shirt, that's what it is. Hey, remember when we had slaves? Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
That's what.
Those were the days.
That's what you're saying with that slave shirt. So. Kent Wallace, who, among the various ways that he fakes his way through life, contributes to Cahoot's magazine, Cahoot's Quarterly. I was doing a recording session I was doing a recording session the other day right here, and someone found your previous copy of Cahoots magazine, and she, this very pretty lady, thought that it was just a laugh riot. Your column in particular. Yeah. Go figure. I'm not.
Really?
I shit you not.
That's really bizarre.
Unsolicited. We had a recording session to do.
Yeah.
I'm keep telling her, would you put down that rag? Would you put down that
Pay attention to me.
Fish wrapper and come over here and do some work? You're paying me by the hour. You're going to bitch if we're 15 minutes over because you're there reading that rag. And then she says, who's this guy, Kent Wallace? And I'm like, oh my God, you're really starting to piss me off. I'm liking you less and less by the minute. She went on and on. She thought this was very funny. And I said,
well, it is a very funny paper.
She knew me when. This is a person, shout out to Agent 99. She's been, she was doing voiceover work. She did, and she was co-hosting on a couple of different shows here during the very early years of SoFlo Radio. And boy, was she impressed, especially when I showed her, our ad.
Right.
And Cahoots magazine. I don't know what she was more impressed by. Which is even cooler
this issue.
The shingle on the door.
Yeah, the shingle on, or the
ad in Cahoots. But this week, I got to tell you, boy, that just looks sharp.
Yeah, no, that's sharp. That's real good.
Snazzy. Look it over here. Hold it up for the viewing audience. This is a collector's item, if nothing else. I'm just going to give all these away. It's not the first time that I've been in the paper or in print. I was on front page of the Sun Sentinel. Once upon a time.
Was that when you ran into
I got the
Muslim
copy.
girl
it's over here.
At the roller rink?
No, and I don't know that she was a Muslim. She might have been Spanish. Okay, but I don't know. And you put me talk about
next to Charlie.
Talk about this is perfect company. This is perfect company because you want to be on a page with other interesting things and Kent, you locked it up.
Right next to a prominent Latin.
Everything I like on this page. First of all, right next to Charlie Sheen, like here's the comparison. I'm left to right, so George Rodriguez or Charlie Sheen get clean with Sheen. So first you can get debauched because you didn't see my Facebook posting today.
Correction.
What a coincidence.
Estevez.
Yes, well I know they're Mexicans and that's okay. Here, let me read you my Facebook posting.
Every Puerto Rican is not a Mexican, you know that?
Today, Kent Wallace, and not every Mexican is a Puerto Rican. All right.
Okay.
So just. Back off.
There's that. Okay.
Boy, I'm talking on autopilot. I really hate I hate Facebook format for a lot of reasons. I go Kent Wallace, Julie J. Rock, if we can embarrass her into getting here, and some other schlub joined George in studio today to promote Hollywood's Art Walk and engage in a debauchery one-upmanship contest.
Nice.
So. This is how it works. You get very debauched on the George Rodriguez show, and then you call the Charlie Sheen Rehab Center. Yeah. But you put me on the page with a pretty girl, which is always good.
Judge Judy?
And my hero, Judge Judy.
See? No, that
pretty
girl. Our layout crew,
Judge Judy.
Second to none. They know what they're doing.
Is my hero. I got Judge Judy quotes. They're in there if you can find them. I got if it doesn't make sense, it's not true. If you don't like it, I don't have to have a good memory. Yeah, I love her. No, she's a sensible woman. She's tough but fair. And Cahoots magazine. Let me just take a minute to promote your Cahoots magazine. This is not just a bad reason to kill a tree. It's actually very funny. Okay,
it is.
This is the second most justified and rationalized excuse to kill a tree next to toilet paper that I have found.
Thank you. That's pretty cool.
It is very cool.
Trees actually.
It's still wrong. It's still a crying shame to have to kill a tree.
Look, you have organ donors. Yeah. There are tree donors. There are trees that ask to be put in cahoots.
If I were a tree, I would say,
do you know that?
Don't cut me down. Yeah? Don't cut me down to print that rag. Leave me alive, please.
Leave me alive.
And if you said to the tree, I can cut you. I'm going to cut you down.
But you're going to be in
Cahoots.
But
you're going to be either be an issue of Cahoots
or toilet paper
or toilet paper or an issue of the Sun Sentinel.
They're jumping.
If I were a tree, I would say, all right, Cahoots wins by default over toilet paper, the Sun Sentinel. And I use this.
Viva Cahoots.
This app.
This
Park Mobile.
What is it? I didn't even know. It's
the Park Mobile. It's an app not for downtown Hollywood.
Not Amanda, but sister.
And G's place. I can't go to G's place because that production that I was telling you about earlier earned me a steak dinner. So I'm going to go out to dinner tonight.
Oh,
so I can't load up on the 39-cent oysters.
You can't get stuffed today because I've seen you go through platters.
I'll take I'll eat 3 dozen in one sitting.
So Jack's going to go. Are you going to the steak dinner too?
Jack's not invited.
Yeah, I'm not invited. It seems that when it comes to food, I get
he can hustle his own steak dinner. I love all the thong pictures in the issue
look, the
today.
girl's reporting a stolen bathing suit. Here's the new.
Only Hollywood.
They're new. You guys should get their menus because they'll deliver here, and they've got beer now and cool beer,
Right.
like fancy beer.
Around the corner,
Right
like
around
all
the
these-
corner.
I just there's Guinness and then other.
They've got like lots of these craft beers.
There are 2 beers in the world:
Yeah.
Guinness, not
other.
Guinness, not Guinness.
Not Guinness.
All right, that's do you have Guinness? No, it's like, well, all right.
I know.
Give me
I
some
know
not
people
Guinness.
love
And I'm just
Guinness.
really, because it's like candy. So thank you, Kent Wallace,
You're welcome.
for putting us in the Cahoots magazine. And where can people find this? Is this available at your finer automated newspaper dispensing machines around town?
No, you need to go into businesses, and when you go into these businesses,
Lord.
there is Cahoots.
But
up
what
and
if
down this street?
But what if you look like Jack? Because he can't.
Very limited of where he can
can't
go.
get into most businesses.
That's true, but
where would
that's-
someone who looks like Jack go to
let's
get
see.
one of
Okay, Jack,
one of
here's what
these
you do.
things?
When the business is closed, break into it.
No,
Get the Cahoots. What?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Just generalizing again.
Pretty
You're the
much.
guy who said he can't get in anywhere.
Wait. Wasn't there something about Cahoots and toilet paper?
Yeah, it's better than
better
toilet,
than toilet
better than toilet
Better
paper.
than-
As a matter of
I'm
fact,
debating that right
Well,
now.
let's put it this way: you can't read toilet paper, but you can wipe your ass with Cahoots.
See
There you
there,
go. There you go.
Win-win, like Charlie.
Now
Sheen.
that's a slogan. Now that's a slogan. Right next to Thuggies.
Cahoots
Right.
Quarterly. I think it should definitely be monthly.
It'd be nice if we could, but it's very difficult. You remember it's free paper, and there's a lot of energy that goes into it, and without an ad base. Although I will say that a lot of advertisers are coming on board. New advertisers, Peroni's jumped on board, a big half-page ad, and Buddha Burger came on board for the first time.
I saw
Parrot
that.
Gourmet Deli came on again. With the G's Place has become
great.
very loyal. So we're getting. The downtown is beginning to step up more because before I came along, they were a little ignoring downtown, and it was really the beach and Dania.
Okay.
So now downtown Hollywood, PRL took an ad out, and believe me, Jay said, Kent, I don't advertise ever, but
No, he doesn't.
He says, I like you guys, and
That
I'm giving you an ad."
Russian is the cheapest some bitch this side of the Mississippi.
And he's proud of it, and he took out an ad in Cahoots.
He's
very honored.
cheap, man. He would rob his mother on her deathbed. He's so cheap. That Russian.
Yeah.
He is a Russian, right? But Russian mafia owns everything anymore, right? And the Saudis.
It used to just be Sunny Isles, but now it's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over the place, but whatever. I
Hey,
can't.
someone's got to own something.
Sure, I could go for some Russian mob money over here. Who's your sales rep that's getting all this Russian?
Yeah,
all this
let's go get him to sponsor a show.
Russian bread. That would be great. I mean,
Why
I was
not?
going to say, you get these people that are spending money in Cahoots. They could be running ads all over the station as a bonus for.
Well,
for
that's what we're
financing
trying to do. That's the
Kent
whole
Wallace
point
show.
of why we've integrated. We're trying to figure out to bridge this gap, the Cahoots, SoFlo radio thing,
Like yin
and
yang
promoting Hollywood at the same time, which is my intention. That's what I would do if I had a show. I would be promoting all the art of Hollywood,
like we do,
and
like
beyond.
We're doing
like
it-
we're doing
we're
now.
doing right now because some of us genuinely love Hollywood. Here we are in Hollywood. It's I put my money where my mouth is. It's not like I'm in Plantation talking about how great Hollywood is.
Girls
Come
at
to
the
the
Bunny
art walk.
Ranch put their mouth where the money.
No, ba-doom bam. Where's that? That's in there. It's called One Liner.
That's right.
You should probably. I'm gonna get the iPad and get my Dropbox back.
Oh,
One of these
yeah?
days. I'm just waiting for some money and waiting and waiting. Got some things that I've got. As a matter of fact, toilet paper is on my wish list right now. So I'm really glad you brought in these issues of Cahoots.
Cahoots.
Yeah. Read and
Magazines. Which businesses carry Cahoots?
Well, I mean, up and down,
Just everybody.
plenty.
Plenty.
Yeah, you might almost go into anywhere and find a stack of Cahoots.
Do they have them at the Octopus?
Yes, Octopus.
Octopus will let you in. They let anybody
Octopus
in.
is right on top of the
Octopus.
cigarette machine.
I was at the Octopus Saturday night. It's always an adventure at the Octopus. It's always
Especially after 2. That's what you and I can tell by your smile.
yeah. Yeah, boy.
That place is off the charts.
It is like the setting for a sci-fi story out of Heavy Metal magazine.
Yeah.
The Octopus. It is the closest thing to the Mos Eisley Spaceport Cantina from Star Wars that I've actually ever seen. You walk in there, and seriously, if I walked in there and I saw a creature sitting at the bar with eyes at the ends of eye stalks or something, I wouldn't bat an eyelash. I would just
it would seem natural.
And the Octopus, it was just like nothing. Nothing.
And you know, and that again, isn't that the charm of Hollywood? I mean, you can go from the Octopus to whatever. I mean, up and down this block.
I like to go to the Octopus and disappear into the dark. The deeper you go into the Octopus, it's this long, narrow place, and it's got the long bar, and it's got seats on the left, seats on the right, and the go-go dancing stage. You've got to go into the Netherverse.
You got to go back in there. The bathroom says single men only.
Yeah, married men not allowed.
No, that's what I want. Yeah. That's what it says. Single men only.
Because
it's like you see all these guys looking at their hands, taking their wedding rings off, putting in their pocket.
Yeah, that's not what they mean by that.
Confused.
They don't want. You know how girls go to the bathroom all together.
I get it. I get the idea why. But
so they got the go-go dancers, and they're female go-go dancers, and so they're straight guys.
Sometimes they're female go-go dancers.
Yeah, I understand. And
they
had the most beautiful.
A surprise for your eyes.
On Saturday night, one of the dancers there was the most beautiful meth addict I'd ever seen in my life. The most beautiful meth addict.
The lighting is key.
It's just
and alcohol and lighting is makes meth heads look good.
They're the only lights in there are black lights. Everything is
exactly.
blue. Everything's blue. Everyone's lips look blue. Like people go in there and just like everyone has blue lips.
Yeah, it makes it even weirder.
It's great. And so
it's awesome.
We're back there. We're back into the deep end of it, where the guy. Do you see the guy that runs it? He's a troll, an actual
the guy who runs
the troll,
weekend
that lives under a bridge and scares children.
Rumpelstiltskin.
He was a troll. Yeah. He was wearing the hat, the flat brim hat backwards, a la gangster style. But he's like a white guy. He kind of looks Irish. He kind of looks all stunted. I think he's a hunchback, and his. Like Igor from Frankenstein or Renfield or something. He's like that. And him and the meth head dancer are kind of all over each other. He's schlepping garbage and buckets of ice and bossing people around and everything. You can tell that he's somebody's Russian nephew.
Yeah.
The Russian, whatever Russian that owns that's out on the yacht right now doing coke with the good-looking women, not the go-go dancers there. So anyway, we're there and enjoying the show, and it's like one of everything. It's like if aliens came to Earth, Jack, and said, "Can you? We're gonna make a list of stereotypes of humans.
Mm-hmm.
Could you name some off?" Everything you named off would be at the Octopus. They have one of each.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird.
Have you ever been down there?
There was an Amish.
Jack?
I think there was an Amish couple in there.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Weird. It's the weirdest place.
They were actually a Jewish couple dressed up like Amish.
I should shoot a rap video in there.
Right.
Trans-religious.
That'd be cool.
They were trans-religious.
So I'm in there with my friend Tony. Tony.
Tony.
Yeah, we're not going to use any last names, but Tony's there. So we're there, and Tony's smoking cigarettes, and he's got my cigarette lighter on, next to his pack of cigarettes, and he's over here, and we're sitting in there, and that's after 2:00, and in walks a gentleman wearing a peach pastel Ralph Lauren polo shirt with the collar turned up, plaid. Shorts with the white belt and the pants tucked into, like he just walked off the links.
Right.
Topsiders. Right. Just walked off the link.
Arm
in arm with the most muscular tranny I'd ever seen, ever. Like easily 3 inches taller than him in Frankenstein boots, and arms
God.
just as big as a runner's thighs, and just huge, and then wearing a dress and the wig and the makeup and everything, and a face like a boxer.
Oh my goodness!
Strong features.
Arm in arm, and they sit down next to us, and the tranny pulls out a cigarette, and says to us, "Anybody have a light?" and Tony, he looks at the muscle lady. And looks at the lighter, and looks at the muscle lady, and looks at the lighter, and she's standing there, and he just slides the lighter over. And so he
should have lit it.
The young lady lights her cigarette, and goes to hand the lighter back to Tony, and Tony just like sits there like paralyzed, and he just doesn't move. He turned to stone. He just sat there, turned to stone, you know, like, and finally she puts the lighter down next to him and everything, and then they turn away, and Tony still not moving any of the joints in his body. He just kind of leans over. He was still stoned, right? He was still stoned, and he just leans over his whole body over and goes, "I think it's time for us to leave." And off we go. But that's Hollywood. That's just
what I love about it.
Of Hollywood. Because we walked over from they got this. Is it going to be Murphy's or Michael? You're plugged in. Do you know what's going on? It used to be the Native Florida Tap Room.
What are you talking about?
All right, it used to be the Native Florida Tap Room. Is what I'm talking about. Right over here next to Toby's Billiards.
Right.
And they had live music on there. It was way too loud. The sound was awful in there. But now it's going to be Michael's or Murphy's or Moroni's or money.
The last name McCarran's or whatever.
Something with an M.
McLaren.
Yeah, okay.
McLaren.
That's it. And the Kitchen Club is going to be hosting a once a month electronical DJ.
Oh, are they? Yeah.
EDM event, and that's what was going on Saturday, which is why I was with Tony.
Were you over there? Did you go in?
Saturday night, I did go in
there.
I went in there.
I haven't been in.
They were playing the Cool Kid EDM. The teenagers were there dancing to the tom tom music that is so popular nowadays. It sounds like really loud.
They have a thing where the kids. I think they did that once over there. The under 18 or the under 21 or whatever.
Correct. The 18 plus. The kind of thing that they usually do over here at Blue Bar Substructure, which was last night. I didn't go. Sorry to all my Substructure friends. I didn't go. I had the show. I wasn't going to go out drinking before the show. I wanted to be all. And to honor Kent Wallace, I wanted to be all bright.
Well, thanks a lot. You know.
And bushy-tailed. I shaved yesterday.
You shaved for Julie.
Don't go crazy.
Get out of here. He shaved for, he wasn't going to come in. With the rumor that Julie might be in here, you know that's exactly what it is.
No, he actually shaved for you.
You're not going to fool us.
You're that special.
Julie's been on the show before, so maybe that was it. That was my quota.
Yeah.
We're going to embarrass you with showing up here.
She was like, really leaning in that direction. But again, like anyone who works in bars, you could be up very late the night before.
Should we text her?
Yeah, why not? Just ask her if she's coming in.
Why not? And then the other person that we're supposed to have on the show today,
Fred Salaff,
as I described as a schlub.
Fred Salaff, I've known him. He's responsible for me being here in Hollywood, Florida. So you can either love him or hate him for that one.
Well, that's a plus. That's a plus in my book.
We've known each other. We 30 years go back.
I think you're a positive addition to the South Florida area.
Thank you, sir.
As the honorary spokesperson.
Well, you met my friend Pagan Hines, the artist who was in town here from Spain with his crazy young son.
Right.
You guys met him
last week.
They're all, people are starting to come into town. I had another friend, Stephanie Parker, fly in, and it's what I like doing, sort of introducing people. But once they come here, if I can get more people to come here, then they suddenly this place is cool. I mean, it went from Hines had no idea where Hollywood was. He asked me, where is it?
Right.
And he had that sculpture down in Mary Brickell Village. He got this huge sculpture. He'd been in Miami Beach plenty of times. Didn't even know where Hollywood was. And so I said, Hines, you got to come visit. He stayed at the Marriott for a couple days. He fell in love. He understood the charm of it. He thought it was a cool, crazy place, that he could really, get behind. So I don't know, and I'm hoping that we can get more people like that. I hope everybody has to be inclusive. That's the key.
Right.
Be inclusive.
We have a show on Thursdays now. It's a relatively new show. It's been on for going on 2 months now. It's called Rick's Show on the Radio, hosted by Rick Santees, who is a local musician, film producer, and he also produces events, which he calls I forget what it is, transmedia events, and it has nothing to do with cross-dressing, Kent Wallace.
I was going to
and nothing to do with the previous story. It's he's done events over here at Cinema Paradiso here and both in Hollywood, and they consist of live musical performances by local artists, and then they show videos, and there's a little question and answer session with the band. He interviews the band, interviews the video producers and everything, and so he spun that off. He was also visiting the show, whoring my show for his own personal enterprise, like you do. but when I pointed out that, because he just wanted to come on every day, when he pointed out that he wanted that he could just come on all the time, I was like, obviously I know you could, because he's very active. He's got a lot of events and a lot of things that he's doing. I said, you have enough material to populate your own radio show. Just saying, you seem to
You say that to everybody.
Everybody, because I want to
Thank you,
populate
Jack.
this radio station with the activity
Yeah.
that you're involved in, that he's involved
Yeah,
in.
no, exactly.
So he had, just by coincidence, he had Dominic, and I don't know if Dominic is going to call in. I hope he does. Dominic Daniel, I think his name is, who is a local artist and musician also, who is a friend of Rick's. And he's going to be part of Art Walk. His art is going to be featured in Art Walk. And so he was on Rick's show yesterday in part. But
there's so many galleries, but that's thrilling.
I could find out.
There's a new girl. God, what's her last name?
Break.
Cindy.
Oh,
Cindy
I asked.
something.
No,
you know
I
Cindy.
don't.
That's tall. She's a wonderful artist. See, all of a
Mm.
sudden, what happens is you get to talking, and then someone says, "Well, I do paint," and then you look at their works, and they're at home, and they don't just paint. As hobbyists, they really do it serious. But people are they're afraid, they're insecure. So you nudge them a little bit, and then they hear that there's all this activity, and suddenly she's texting me yesterday saying I'm part of Gallery 2020 now. I mean, it's awesome, and she got her first commissioned work. I mean, this is it's what do you call it? Like when you siphon gas, that centrifugal force. Once you get it started, then things just sort of take a life of their own.
A chain reaction.
Chain reaction.
Had a very long and deep discussion with my daughter as I was explaining all the nuclear things to her, my 26-year-old. It was fascinating. I could spend an hour telling her, black holes, quasar, from quarks to quasars. I explained the whole universe and gravity and all of the forces, and explained E equals MC squared and what it means, and how we could travel faster than light if we develop the technology, and string theory, all of it.
So you believe in time travel?
No. Time. We are traveling through time right now. Right? That's not a faith-based thing. What I believe. See, here's the thing. I don't believe in things that don't exist. All right. Everything is either, if there's evidence to support the existence of it, then that probably exists, and if there isn't, then maybe it exists.
I agree.
All right. So we're traveling through time at a particular rate, and you can change the rate at which time moves relative to the rate at which time is moving for other people or other objects, but what you can't do is go backwards in time. There is no negative integer where time is concerned. You can't go to a place that doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist,
Right.
exactly.
Right. Because we're going through time. So that's that. You can look at it. You can remember it, but you can't go back there. There isn't like this magical being remember where everything was. So if you decide to go back there, they'll put everything back the way that was, so that it's gone. That moment is over and it's gone, and it's in the past, and but we're traveling at a rate. You can change that rate, and the astronauts have changed that rate.
Mind if I propose something?
Is it about time travel?
No.
Okay.
I nominate Kit as to run for mayor of Hollywood.
Who?
And as mayor of Hollywood, you let George open up the Church of Bacchus. So then we'll be
Ken's
talking
gonna
about...
be
I'm only being mayor if we can find the lollipop kids and bring them back, because I'm only mayor if there are
the lollipop kids.
Right.
The lollipop.
But that's why you go to the Church of Bacchus to recharge your mental...
Kent, he's not qualified to be mayor. He's not a good enough liar.
Hey, come on! I like the mayor of this town.
I like that Peter Bober. He's been here. He's been in this
I've met him a couple times.
We're trying to do...
And I listened to a commission meeting the other day. I felt bad for the guy, quite frankly. I mean, you could take that mayor... You dislike me that much? Jack Frost? Have me be mayor?
No, I mean, you do a lot of schmoozing, and you're very progressive on what things that Hollywood definitely need. So I'm looking at it from a positive perspective.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Oh, on that law, because I wanted to take a break because I got some things to talk about until your friend shows up.
Yeah, Fred.
At some point, Fred is going to show up, and we're going to be talking.
I told him 2. I figured 2 to 3. That's typically you see
Fred specific stuff. I was hoping Julie would be here.
Well, Julie's got a standing invitation, right?
We've got absolutely, or a sitting invitation, because we've got some snack foods for the guests that I can bring out. We got a bowl of fruit.
I've never seen that. You know he likes Julie, man. I need snack foods.
Snack food. Look. A bowl of fruit, assorted fruits that you can skewer with the toothpicks over there. I got the fancy toothpicks.
Are you going to invite her to the steak dinner?
And no, I'm getting taken out to the steak dinner.
Yeah, that'd be kind of
That's
rude.
the best way to. That's how I always got on dates. I wait for someone to take me out, and then I invite someone to schlep them along.
Yeah, that's horrible. What a horrible idea.
The horrible etiquette.
The female friend that is rewarding me with
the one who likes
steak dinner. Yes. The same.
Would you like me to go in your steed?
Yes. She wouldn't want to date your old ass unless it was rich. I also got some pork rinds. If you would like
I've
some,
been eyeballing those.
The
but
best
where's the
kind.
hot sauce?
Oh, I don't have any hot sauce.
I got some in my pocket. Hold on.
Do you carry
back
hot
poke.
sauce around? There might be a packet.
You never know when you're going to run into a pack of pork rinds. You ought to have your
hot
Tabasco.
sauce from if I'm around, there's probably
Remember, did you used to
pork
do? I
rinds.
mean, we used to have the pork rinds. You just
Drown
pour
it.
yeah, and then just shake the bag up.
No, I never.
Yeah, well,
Never
probably
did that.
don't do that
I
down
once
there.
put potato chips in an empty weed bag and shook it up, thinking, I was that it would absorb the. Yeah, it did, sure, but it tasted horrible. It was just nasty, not good. Weed dust, yucky taste.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
Remember, they used to say bats and balls when you'd buy
No.
weed. You don't remember that
No.
long ago? Bats
Wow.
were it was stems and seeds. You'd always say
Oh,
no
yeah.
bats and balls because now you don't even. There's no such thing. When's the last time
That
you
San
saw a
Francisco
seed?
thing.
Yeah.
No, that was just back in the day when weed was all coming from Mexico.
Right.
All
It
of
was all regs. Now they say if you see a seed, call me.
Yeah, right.
I want that.
Right.
I want that seed.
Yeah.
All right. 15 till 1 on All Seed Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
Welcome to the Moses Love Hour, filled with friends, live music, and conscious living. Take some time and come on the adventures aboard Mission Control. From the I Love Yoga studios in Dania Beach, Florida, USA. Streaming live Sunday nights from 9 to 10 on SoFloRadio.com.
Hi, this is George. Trying to get laid all day makes me hungry, so I go to Power Smoothie in Aventura and get the healthiest wraps and most delicious smoothies ever made. I mean, really, the smoothies are so insanely delicious, they're orgasmic. The staff is friendly there and cute. The food is healthy and real, not processed. This is not fast food, it's good food served fast. And they love me there. They even let me create my own smoothie, the Malted Jorge. Go in and ask for one. They're in the Promenade Shops right off of US 1 in Aventura, or call them at 305-792-5338. You can also visit them online at powersmoothieaventura.com.
Pizza Loft, if you wanna go Italian and see Jeff Cohen's ponytail. You'll have great Italian food that's made by a Jew who has lovely painted nails.
Hey, Donnie, how long we been on this deserted island?
A long time, Lonnie. So long I'm starting to fantasize about food.
Yeah, food from the pizza
I
lot.
sure could go for one of their gourmet pizzas right about now.
Or lasagna bubbling with cheese and oozing with tomato sauce.
Stop it, you're making me think of that great...
The darkness goes off and love that, 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 love that. could be any time. The moment's fast, it comes and goes like a cigarette wrapped in the love that, 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 love that.
You know, the only thing I don't like about your music, Kent. Here we go with my microphone again. There we go. I gotta get a different mic or a different.
It's not working.
Different mic cord.
How do you know when it's working?
I hear it in my headphones.
Oh.
Like I said, I hear it in my headphones.
Oh, that's why you wear headphones.
Like I said, I hear it in my headphones. I'm going to be switching mics around, playing with mics. The only thing I don't like about your band is that the songs are too short.
Yeah,
you didn't have it in you to do
all
3
the
minutes?
Ramones, that was the right. That was the thing. The 60-second songs. But those were the early ones. They got a little longer.
All the 2-minute songs were.
That was back in the day, you know, because what you did is you wrote songs not to record as much as to play in shows, and so nobody wanted to listen to long, extended guitar solos, certainly never a drum solo. So every band was up there just trying to get, you know, a 30-minent set could have like 100 songs. It's just, you know, that was the thing. It was just like, keep cranking them out.
I think what you were trying to do really is just make sure that one of your songs was always the last song on every side of a cassette tape.
Yeah.
Because, oh, man, I just got a little bit of tape left.
I put one of theirs on.
Empty tape. If I made a cassette tape and there was like all this unrecorded slack at the end of it, it tore me up inside. It tore at my soul. I stayed up at night. You know, I'd cry. I'd drink. I was in therapy for a while because I made a cassette tape with 2.5 minutes of dead air on the end of it.
Ooh.
Yeah. Gave it to somebody.
Yeah, that's not right, man.
They wouldn't give it back. I wanted to fix it. You know, it was horrible. It was a horrible thing. You know what else is horrible? People trying to cure people of Ebola is horrible. I just decided.
Really? You should just let them have it.
Sure, or help out. I don't know if you saw this story recently. I'm going through my Facebook stories, and I don't know if you do that. Like, I'll follow a chain of stories, like, or videos. You know, when you go and you read a news story, there are these other related stories underneath that, and you click on that, and then you click on a related story, and that takes you. You know, you follow. I guess it's a thread. You follow. Because a lot of times these related stories have more information about the story that you were originally looking at. Follow, so you can get it more rounded. And there's also stories, if it's something controversial like a police beating or shooting or something, you've got the police apologists going on there, which is one of the things that I wrote on my notebook. I forgot my notebook today, but I wanted to talk about cop haters because I was accused of being a cop hater.
Well, because you like to post those. I don't think you're a cop hater.
I know I'm not.
You're right now. You seem to be diligent in pointing out abuse by police
of authority.
And,
really
exactly.
It really
and you know that's
me.
an important thing to point out because it's easy to sweep it under the rug, and it's certainly easy to sugarcoat it.
Well, to me, it's very offensive. And I wasn't even. Remind me to get back to Ebola. But because that was one of the things that I wanted.
Keep Ebola on the plate.
We need to. I really. Man, I want to get into Ebola, man.
It's such a lovely name. It sounds like a Latin dance.
But the cop hater thing is because I post all those things. The reason that it offends me is because, first of all, and people, like when they say, "Oh, you're a liberal" and everything, it's like, yeah, I've got a lot of left of center views, but the thing with me is I really like the Constitution, and I really like the whole idea of America as I feel the founding fathers saw it, and I like to put myself in that mindset and remind myself what the environment was when they wrote the Constitution and what they were trying to protect against. And I think a lot of people these days forget about that. And one of the things that was, if you could say, if you ask someone, a history student, it's like there were probably more than one reasons the American Revolution was fought. But what would you say was probably the biggest reason, like reason number one, grievance number one of the colonists, why they were just, getting pissed off? And if you ask me that, I would say, abuse of power. I think that the colonists wanted to be able to lead their own lives and make their own decisions.
I think that's what,
right. And then when you have things like the Fourth Amendment, which makes you secure, that was written, you have to understand, I believe that in the time that was written, that was a big problem. So they wrote that, into the Bill of Rights. The unreasonable search and seizure, a person will be secure in their persons, their property, and their papers, because obviously they weren't. The people that wrote that were victimized by people who would come into their place and look for guns and disenfranchise them, and they didn't have the right to privacy and the right to be about their business, which is what really hackles, gets my hackles up, is I'm allowed to be about my business. If I'm not committing a crime, if I'm a citizen in good standing, I should be allowed to be about my business. Not, I'm getting pulled over at a checkpoint now as they cast this drift gill net looking for people that are breaking the law. It's really easy to spot a dangerous driver. Drive down the road and open up your eyes on a Saturday night.
Yeah,
you lazy bastard. Just instead of just pulling people over, what if I have ice cream in my car? What if I just want to get home to watch TV? What if I gotta pee? You're stopping me. You're detaining me. You're causing me an inconvenience. And the reason that it really upsets me is because we're paying the salary.
Right.
The police exist by our leave. We caused them to come into being. We generated that department and gave them a job them a job to do, and they don't see it that way.
I know, but that's where the slippery slope is, because they're not mandating, they're not issuing orders to themselves. They're basically being told do this, do that, and unfortunately, they take more relish than others times in what it is they're being told to do. But they're like little troops, little soldiers.
Well, I have a thing. All right, so this microphone works over here. I think it might be the cable. I'm troubleshooting while we're talking.
That's very good.
I do take that into account.
Yeah,
but there are no excuses. And here's a very right-wing philosophy, right? The employer gets to call the shots. That's a very right-wing thing, right?
Right.
The right wing is anti-union, anti-labor laws, anti-minimum wage, anti-mandatory vacation time for pregnant women.
Right, exactly.
Yes? How about there? There. Oh, that thing.
Oh, we're not.
See, that's why I don't like... No, but that's okay. They know what we look like. I think I disappeared our shot.
I wore an especially wonderful shirt just for the occasion.
That's the bright one. I wore my microphone shirt so that you know that
Hollywood,
so that you know I'm a broadcaster. I want one. It's Hollywood Beach.
$250 at that store. Yeah, look at that.
The unofficial Mayor Hollywood.
Unofficial.
I want a Hollywood Beach shirt. Although yellow
$2.50.
I can't wear that color.
It's lime green, right?
Highlighter. That's highlighter yellow. Look.
Highlighter yellow. Oh yeah, you're right.
You match. It just you put that shirt. You put that up to there, and it just disappears.
That's awesome, dude. That turns me on.
That's either going to be Julie or
is there anyone there?
Friend. So we called the cops to be into being. Was it a
ghost?
A prank? Was it a crank? We call the cops to be into being. They swear an oath. We're going to buy you a gun. We're going to buy you a Batman utility belt with the taser and the baton and the handcuffs and the walkie-talkie. Yeah. And we're going to buy you body armor, and we're going to buy you a souped-up car and with AC and a computer.
Yeah, you're hooked
and everything. And we're going to give you the authority to take control of situations when you roll up. All right? But because you've got that position of power, we feel that you might abuse it. So we want you to swear an oath, as if an oath has magic powers. But nevertheless, amongst gentlemen, where I come from, a gentleman gives you his word.
That's it.
That's his word.
A man's word is his word.
A man's word is his word. All right? Even if you just shake on it, guy promised to pay
a handshake
Tuesday
typically is
that's
all
not
you
an
need.
Oath. He's not taking an oath.
You don't need to sign a contract. You shake hands. You look a man in the eye. To me, that's all you. I don't even need to shake your hand.
So we got a deal. Me, the citizen, I'm saying to this guy, here, I'm going to pay you money and give you all this gear to protect me from bad people, because there are bad people around, man.
And there are bad people.
All right, so I hired this guy to protect me from this other guy, not you, Jack. I'm going to gesture in another direction.
Yeah, because
that's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm going to reverse it. I hire this guy to protect me from that guy.
Right.
Okay, and then this guy victimizes me.
Yeah, no,
it's like, asshole.
Well,
I would have done better just keeping the money, buying a gun, putting it on, and protecting myself. You
at the
dick.
End of the day, the reason people get most frustrated about it is because when someone abuses power and authority, it is frankly much more serious than when
that's
how
I
civilian
feel.
Someone is just being a bad guy, because a bad guy is going to be a bad guy, and I get the name bad guy. But when someone who's supposed to be protecting and an authority position, someone who can so easily violate the trust that's been given to him, it becomes much more despicable, and that's why there has to be more outrage. And that's why I don't think you're a cop hater at all. I follow your stuff. I don't agree with every little thing. I don't agree with anybody every little thing. But But the fact of the matter is it needs to be pointed out when cops go bad, especially cops, and for some reason in this whole sort of militaristic mentality phase we're all moving into, those guys can be extremely dangerous.
The militarization, right? But to me, and
they
again,
need more education.
It's gentleman's
stuff. In my opinion, they need to start digging guys out. Not just guys that are coming out of the military a little traumatized, not just guys that played on sports, and not the guys that got bullied around because all of a sudden now they're big shots because they get to carry guns.
Right?
It'd be nice, but that's also for the general population taken into consideration. Consider being a police officer as a potential job.
Right. Oh,
for a regular Joe.
That sounds like a stereotype.
That would be nice. No, I've always said it's the bullies and the bullied that often wind up being cops because the bullies want to be able to keep on doing it, and the bullied want to pay back. Man, I'm gonna make you pay.
Well, plus and when you think about it, it is an incredible.
Like if I had Iron Man armor, then some people would say,
but you can't look. There they are, knowing that most people when they walk down the street. Most people looking at them going, motherfucking pigs, that aren't loving them. I mean, there are people that go,
by the way, officer, there's a prejudice that is based on personal experience because most people, when they encounter a cop, they're on the receiving end of a hassle. The cop isn't there to help them.
Right. Well, because
most of the time
you never need any help, and that's the whole point too. Is in life, even though they're there, fortunately, most of us don't have an occasion to call the police.
It's funny you bring that up because I guess it's been cop week for me. Gladly it hasn't been because of me, but I heard a great quote when they said that we more hate the uniform than we do the person. And I guess the cop actually already has that in their mind that that's where the whole
they're putting on armor that people are immediately repulsed by it to a certain degree, or as you said, are creating stereotypes. So you got to understand that, and then they're all together, and then one of them gets shot at. I mean, you got to remember now these guys. They get shot at. They get, they're in the line.
I got a thing. Because I always hear that the cops, and I've got some people that are Facebook friends that always argue with my posts, and we still love each other. We're still Facebook friends, different. And I have cops in the family, friends, etc. But they go, "Oh, you don't know what it's like out there." I go, "I don't have to know what it's like." Okay, if it's so rough out there that you've got to resort to these kind of tactics to do your job, you should not have taken that job. There are a lot of people that are not qualified to be police. For example, me, because I'm a big fat pussy. And if you are also, take off the Batman utility belt that I bought for you, and the armor and the badge, and get back here with the rest of us, and let a brave man, an honorable man, be a cop, because that ain't you, asshole. That's my answer to that. Well, you don't know how tough it is out there. Well, shut the fuck up, pussy, and get back over here with the rest of us pussies.
Dude, I'm going to invite on the show for you. His name's Jerry. I don't remember his last name, but he is a detective in Hollywood who's a stand-up comic who did the show last night.
Awesome.
How cool would that be? A stand-up comic cop.
That's something.
And he was busted on the other cops because you can see all the cops.
Hey, he's not the guy that smokes cigars over here in front of the cigar place.
No.
Oh, yeah, because that guy's an asshole.
He's a young guy.
The guy that ran up on you?
Yeah. I don't want him on my show.
No. You're going to love this guy.
That would be a great show.
He was making fun of the cops in the audience last night. He said, you can tell all those guys in the back. He's pointing to the audience. He goes, every one of them are cops. He goes, you know why? Because they're all with their backs to the wall. They all got their things so nobody can grab their guns. I mean, and you can just see the guys where they were like, it was brilliant. He's a cop, very intelligent, very Latin. I know he's Cuban. Could be related to you. You guys could check. Isn't
that such a generic answer?
All Cubans are not related.
Yeah.
All right. Only the Rodriguezes.
Some way.
Only the Rodriguezes. We're all related. What's his last name?
That's what I said. I can't remember.
One of my cousins might have banged one of his cousins. I mean, it's probably possible. Yeah. It's a small island. Actually, not really.
It's a large island.
It's big. 10 million people. It's the size of Florida.
Fred's married to a Cuban girl, and Fred has a home in Cuba. He'll tell you.
Oriente.
Fuego.
Del Fuego.
Yeah.
Tierra del Fuego.
No, it's God dang it. Well, that's right. So there's a big Cuban connection. He's
Salchicha del Fuego. No.
No.
I said fire sausage.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Fire sausage. No, I think that's
Kid
Fire
might like
Island.
that.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah.
So I probably should have said at the beginning of the show. I keep forgetting to play the disclaimer that Jack made for me. Would you play the disclaimer before I go into the piece that I'm going to do about Ebola? Because I really feel that I need to warn people about the language that
I
I'm about
don't
to use.
have it on
We're about to.
this one.
It ought to be in there. I thought I synchronized everything. That should be pointing to the Dropbox and everything. I mean, I'll find it. I'll find it if I must.
I might have saved it for you.
I know, but it should be that Media Monkey should be able to. This is Shop Talk, everybody. That Media Monkey should see everything. It's all set up to see everything, including everything in the Dropbox, unless I did it. So I'm because it's an important disclaimer.
Well,
Jack spent a long time on it. I can't. It's not. It doesn't have the same effect.
Don't take
What are we-
offense to everything George says.
Do you have it?
Uh-huh.
We'll play it.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the hosts and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of SoFloRadio.com.
See, that's important. But now I wanted a profanity disclaimer. You know,
We'll work on
the
that.
following program contains adult language not suitable for children and Mormons and and people that are easily offended.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've been hearing about Ebola lately.
The views and opinions expressed on this program.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you, Morgan.
We get the point.
So there's an Ebola outbreak over here, and I got Jack here to vouch for me because it's like this could be anywhere. All right, because I have a problem with, and I don't know who they are. Maybe can you look that up? Can you Google that? The nationality. What I want to know is the nationality of the AIDS workers and the reporters that were just killed in Africa, in Guinea. The town.
What will you say?
Papua New Guinea.
And it was
your mama.
It was
Keep going.
they were killed at the village of Wome. They were killed in the village of Wome. Look at me reading the news.
See, I didn't even hear that
W-O-M-E.
one. So what are you saying? They were people. They were what they were.
All right, so I want to know what
investigating the
nationality
Ebola
they are because
outbreak?
here's the thing: we got a lot of problems here in America, and a lot of the things. The liberals are often called bleeding heart. Bleeding heart liberal. It goes hand in hand, and I don't know how that's an insult. But I understand because I used to be on the other side. I understand what they're trying to say,
Sure.
And that is that you've got too much sympathy or your sympathy is misplaced. You shouldn't be sympathetic towards people who are freeloaders. You should be sympathetic towards the people who have to pay the bill of the freeloader. That's what's in their head, right? When they say bleeding heart, bleeding heart liberal. It's like your bleeding heart is costing me money, so you feel bad for these people. I don't. So screw you if you want to feel bad about them, but stop costing me money. Right. What I feel is if you're a doctor, because they do that. They have those charity. We still have a lousy health system, despite the Affordable Care Act, which is working for more and more for millions of people. We still have lousy medical treatment facilities for people of low income in this country, and people who working poor. There are people that need medical treatment that can't afford it, that are good, that are doing their best, that are struggling, and their children are sick, and we got lots of problems to go around. I betcha that we don't have that are good. Too many doctors in America. Did you find out the nationality of the AIDS workers?
They were just murdered?
They were just murdered
By
the Guineans. Okay,
why do you guys keep talking about the freaking Italians?
This is
like
Ebola.
I don't understand.
It was not the Guineas.
Oh,
the Ghanaians. What do you call someone from Guinea?
Be careful, man. It's insulting.
Sensitive.
What? Jack's not from Guinea. He's not a Guinea. Yo, what are you talking?
That's what I'm saying.
What are you talking about? The Guineas and Ebola, you mook. What are you talking about?
We
don't have Ebola. Why are you talking like we got Ebola?
Ebola.
So Ebola's going on in Western Africa around Guinea, and there are some people, bleeding hearts, let's call them.
Right. They're going down to help.
That not from there. I don't know if they're from here. See, what anger me if they're from here is like, why the fuck are you going to Guinea?
Well, whatever. So they're good people trying to help.
Good people, and they're going to
rounded up by who though?
All right.
Guineans.
So this is what I'm getting at. The The Guineans, man. Because guess what? The Guineans
rainbow
in and I'm reading this news story, and the winner of the Understatement a Year award goes to the writer of this news story, who refers to the villagers of this who refers to the Guineans as suspicious of medical personnel.
Oh,
this is the understatement of the century. Suspicious of medical personnel means that you hide the silverware when the doctor comes over. Right? That's what suspicious of medical personnel means. Not, oh my God, there's a doctor, kill him fast.
That's weird.
That's weird. And because it gets weirder, why, you might ask, are they so suspicious of the medical personnel?
Because maybe the medical personnel is infecting them as well.
Science is evil. This is because I talk about religion on this show all the time. Science is dark magic.
Yeah.
All right. When they see science working, their people of religion, their clergy says, no. We wield the real magic of the gods that you love. That if you see some other forms of magic like science, that's actually dark magic, and those are sorcerers and witches and witchcraft people, and that are going to steal your soul and kill you and eat your children. Now the people believe that. Of course, it's very primitive. Of course, it's very primitive. So
most any religion,
they see medical personnel. So this is what they believe: the medical personnel actually infect you with the disease, and then upon diagnosing you with the disease, you develop the symptoms and die. All right. So they believe when they see medical personnel,
that they're there
to give you the disease.
Well, it's weird.
Did we find out the nationality?
You inoculate somebody.
It doesn't really state.
So I see what you're saying. Yeah, they just don't want. Yeah. Well,
think about it. Think about it for a second. It could be a situation where for lack of a better term, these people are test dummies. Yes, they are probably curing some people, but they're probably administering to see how they react to some of the vaccinations.
Now, why would you say such a thing?
Why would I say such a thing?
Well, because they're not vaccinating. It has been done, but they don't have to go to Africa to do that. They do those experiments over here.
They can do it anywhere now.
They do, and
it's simple.
But
there's less loss to worry about.
These volunteers, these doctors who are volunteers, are going over there. And for the most part, because if you read the story, for the most part, they were tasked with handing out pamphlets
just to try to help
tell the people this is how Ebola is spreading.
Right.
We're going to tell you how to keep from contracting the disease. They were there on a mission of information.
Understood.
And to treat people who were dying if they wanted. Didn't get a chance.
Wow. So how many of them
waylaid
were
on the
killed?
road? There were 8 people total, a combination of doctors and reporters.
Oh, my.
Okay.
Slingshots and machetes.
Is that what slingshot? Well, so it was primitive. They were in slingshots and machetes.
Now these people,
one of their leaders basically told them, like you said, that this is not good stuff. This is bad magic. These people are coming. It's like freaking Jonestown or something. People
minus
you keep people stupid
Jim
enough.
Jones juice.
Jones juice. That's what we did on the Bible barbecue. We had Jonestown Kool-Aid. We had little babies crawling out of a big tin of Kool-Aid. Not to make light of that.
Trying to find the nationality.
Thing,
but here's the thing that gets
me.
me.
They were a mix of all sorts of people. Typically, they are.
We don't know, and I want to find out.
We're going to get to the bottom of this.
I'm going to get to the bottom of it. The officials, Associated Press,
in the
doctors.
Meantime, the freaking Scots got voted to stick around with Britain.
Yeah, well, that's their business.
That is their business.
So here's my big point. And this ties in. Well, for me it does. The reporter that got his head cut off. That was the second time that he was kidnapped.
Yeah, I know.
He was kidnapped and got released.
I know. And I've had this debate with people. Believe me, as a journalist, you know what? You can say you did it. You served your time. Why re-up? But you know
when
what?
You
it's a juice,
consciously go to of course it is, but he's not there for love.
No.
All right? He's there to feather his own.
Right, so you could say he's stupid, but what about the other two? I mean, the point is what they're trying to say. So no reporter should ever. You should get into a new profession if there's a risk of you being.
Here's what I'm saying, and again, this is a very right-wing mentality principle. We here in America believe that America is a sovereign country and we get to choose who comes over. You see the right-wingers freaking out about the little immigrant children that are here based on a law that Bush signed that says that that people under the age of 18 from a country that doesn't border the United States are automatically entitled to an immigration hearing. It was a law written to curb slavery and child trafficking. All right, and so they caught wind of it, and that's why they're here. It was a law that Bush signed. Okay. But yet you have all these right wingers at the border holding up misspelled signs saying, go home. All right, so there's a very strong sentiment in America that we ought to be able to pick and choose who comes to America. Yeah. Well, the golden rule says if that's good enough for us, that's good enough for them too. Yeah. That when the government of a country says, we don't want your kind over here, and then you go over there against the will of the people that are there, well, then you go get to bitch about what happens to you when you get there.
Well, no, dude, they're not bitching. I mean, the guy's not bitching anymore anyway. He ain't talking. No, he's dead. He's got no freaking head.
Yeah.
And he's a local. He's from here.
He was.
Yeah. They're there. They're hunting
the point
glory, adrenaline, Pulitzer prizes.
Exactly. But their intentions may not be ultimately noble. But the bottom line is we need it. We need people in that capacity, and that's life, and it's a risk you take.
I'm reading the news,
and that's too bad. If you go out there and you get killed, I mean, you died in the line of duty. I certainly don't. You don't pay $5 to these pricks to free them. That's life. Yeah. You got to take the Jewish line, man. You do not negotiate with terrorists ever.
Right.
You just find them and kill them and their.
Well, that sounds very extremist.
Hey, sometimes it's an eye for an eye. Sometimes you turn the other cheek. It all depends.
Okay, on which Bible verse you're reading.
Exactly.
I guess.
It depends on what day of the week it is.
So Ebola people, the doctors and all these people, they already knew this. These are not people. It's like
so they knew they were going into potential danger.
Sure, and it's like, but there are people here that are dying that need medical aid, and they aren't going to kill you. Yeah. They aren't going to kill you when you show up to help them out. No. Man, what are you doing over there? And the reporters. Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
You're going into a place that is very clear about hating you.
Right.
All right. But you're going to go there to help them against their will. What are you expecting?
Yeah.
Really, and I understand you want to help, but you know what? You can help here. Why are you going over there? Yeah. And risking your life when you can stay here, and that's why. And I don't know the nationality. Maybe they were Swiss. I don't know. But even if they were Swiss, hey, Swiss, you know what? I bet you there are people somewhere, anywhere in the world that aren't going to kill you.
But you can't. Again,
for trying to help them.
It's a personal decision. If you want to take that chance, it's
of course
noble,
it is.
They were doing something noble at the end of the day. The fact that they got murdered, it was tragic, but they were doing something, attempting something noble. They were trying to help people that needed it and to educate people that without education could easily spread something that sometimes the simplest thing of not touching this or washing.
Sure, washing.
Basic
washing. That's what they're trying to
That's what, trying to tell them. But if no one's teaching them, how the hell are they going to know?
Well.
And it wasn't just the people. I guarantee you. There's always ringleaders in there.
Of course.
The bosses,
I told you how it started. This clergy, listen, and this goes all the way back because right now they're going through what Europe went through in the Dark Ages already. Which is science competing with religion.
Right.
Is what's going on because the religionists of our ancestors, the religionists had people of science burned at the stake because it was direct competition.
It was a threat to their
right because they were the sole providers of answers, and here were these other guys actually answering questions, actually providing answers to real questions, and having a real visible effect on people's lives. Oh, we can't have that. They're undermining our authority.
Exactly.
They're competing for the same audience, and so of course.
So you're right. So that's what it is. That's how far back the whip effect is. They're still dealing with that. That's their
and my thing is, hey doctor, there are plenty of people in need that won't kill you. Yeah. Why don't you? I'll tell you what, you can always set up, because they went from a safe place to an unsafe place. You can set up little MASH hospitals, little mobile hospitals in areas where it is safe. All right, and then anybody who wants help can come to you.
Right, exactly.
Don't go driving into a hostile village saying, "Hey, man, I don't care. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you think. I'm here."
They put themselves at risk, and that's it.
Slingshots and machetes.
That's what I saw.
Ooh, machetes is probably a choppy kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I think I take this.
Then
Well,
it might be
I think
a dull
the
blade.
slingshots were probably the ranged weapon, which they engaged in at a distance
Yeah,
to kind of
and
soften the target. And then at that point, you know, they would move in with the machetes once the target was appropriately stunned
In
with
Papua
a
New Guinea.
rock to the head. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, stay here. I'm starting to get a little bit more of a hard ass in my old age.
Yeah,
stay
starting to-
here, help
starting
people
to feel
here.
like
There are
stay
people here.
vacation might work
Listen,
this year.
I drive around. And I see people that need help here in Hollywood every day. And my big idea, because I'm a socially conscious kind of guy, you know what my big idea is to create and establish locations that are called help centers.
Yeah,
You like
we've
that?
talked about that.
Yeah, and where the people can go to help, and it's no pressure. We're just here to help you. And some people will come and get a meal and leave, and some people will stay long enough for a chat, and maybe the chat will have an effect.
There's a place, Jafco. The only reason I know about it, it's actually a community village. It's a Jewish something or other.
A Jewish community center.
No, it's not a Jewish community. I mean, it's literally the reason I found out about it is because Amanda, little Amanda
Yes.
wanted to do something for the holidays for her kids. So she said, "Kent, help me find the right people." So there's always goodwill stuff like that. But I decided because that she wondered if there was a Jewish thing, and so I said, "Well, let's do some homework." Jafco, found out that they have literally communities with buildings, and they keep families together, and it's not Jewish. They're a Jewish organization, but it's
wrong with Jews,
children,
man?
Children of all.
What do you got against Jews?
Trying to say.
None against them. They got. I was bar mitzvahed and baptized, so please.
How about that?
So anyways, this is a very interesting thing because this help center you're talking about, they're building like a community. So they're going to have a box over at. Geez, I always say that. I said to Amanda last night, I said, "So when are you opening the box? When are you opening your box here?"
A box or like a booth?
When are you opening
Oh,
your
you
box?
perverted little man.
It's like one young circle.
You are perverted, little man. Are you like independently wealthy? Is that why all you have to do for a living is
I'm
right for?
broke.
Are you on
I
Social
am
Security?
broke. I wish I. Well,
ARP?
I got nothing, huh?
AARP?
Yeah.
No, I don't even have that. But I get those letters. I think I could be on that. I mean, I'm not, but I could be. I think I'm 55.
You're qualified.
How old?
Right? Yeah, I'm 57.
I got five and a half more years before I
I got the big 5'7".
start getting those letters. I think I'm gonna shave my head for my 50th birthday and have my friends like sign it. Everything.
Cool.
Get a picture. I don't know. My friend who also has a shaved head. Well, not also I don't have a shaved head yet. I will soon. He says that I'm going to look like a chemo patient or cancer patient because it's going to be all white, like the sun hasn't been on it yet.
True.
Although
You better work. You better go into a tanning
get the
booth.
friar tuck.
Like a little bit at a time.
How about
take a quarter?
Well, it's
go
all
in a tanning
pretty
booth,
short
right?
now.
Shave
See,
the other one.
it's already pretty damn short. I don't tanning booth, man. I live in Florida. Tanning
Get out in
booths,
the
I know they
sun,
have
man.
them out
What the hell's
there.
the matter with you?
I wear a hat. I don't want to
Like
get
you're from Madame Tussauds.
I don't want to get the brain cancer, man. I got tan on my arms over here. I haven't been to the beach lately. I've been so busy. I was going to go to the beach today.
I'm supposed to go
It's all
tomorrow.
cloudy. It's just as well that it's cloudy because I'm doing this radio show. But I canceled my beach plans
We're gonna
so that I could be here to do the radio show.
Raining tomorrow, do you know?
I don't. Yeah, I think
It
maybe
is,
it's going to be
really?
like this.
Supposed
I
to
think.
do the beach tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But one
And
cool thing about Hollywood, it doesn't matter what the weather's like. The
Doesn't
water's
matter.
fine. You can go swimming in that water.
I've got a
anytime. I swam in the pool today.
roller derby girl party to go to on Sunday. Barbecue party. Roller derby girl party. Yeah, don't get all prurient on me over here, Kent Wallace. These are dignified ladies who hit each other for fun.
I love
okay.
roller derby.
Okay.
You saw that
Let me see.
YouTube video I sent you with Georgia Hess?
Yes. Well, I will have to take you. Let's do a double date. Take you to a roller derby bout.
you find me a date?
They're called bouts. Yeah, I was going to ask if you could find me one. I used to be married to a,
Jack, can
to
you
a
find-
fine star.
can you
I
find
can't,
us a date?
Listen, I have the same.
Share one. She's got two hands.
I have the same problem you have. I have the same two problems that you have: old and broke.
Yeah,
if we
sucks, man.
we could deal
We
with
had one- yeah,
either
no.
one of those. If we were just one of those, yeah,
just take
Yeah.
one of them back, and we'd be freaking
yeah,
golden.
yeah, it'd be fine.
Got the stick down.
It's okay.
Sadly, that doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
work.
It doesn't matter. I got game, but I've been disqualified.
Yeah, exactly.
From the
I got
game.
but it's bocce ball.
It's okay. It's okay because I'm really enjoying. Because when you're married, you've been married,
and I've been married.
And I really forgot. Oh, the joys of living alone. And that's not something that everybody doesn't know, but you forget these things. You go so long living with another person that I forget just, I like quiet. Remember quiet? Remember peace and quiet and just.
That's what I have now.
Like sometimes I will be watching a show or have the Pandora on usually or something, but sometimes especially right after I get home and I'm putting the keys down and everything before I have turned everything on and adjusted the environment to the next mode, whether I'm going to be sitting and trolling people on Facebook or something, but sometimes just open the window and look out at the palm trees and enjoy the quiet, and then that's when you hear all the subtle things, the birds singing, a dog off in the distance barking,
freaking lonely.
Gunshots off in the distance.
Though.
Oh,
crackheads fighting in the background.
I haven't felt lonely in a bad way yet. I still have lots of friends, and I socialize a lot. I could have gone out last night. Could have gone to Substructure right here on Thursday night at Blue Bar and Grill.
Yes,
pretty decent food there, and they have some drink specials for Substructure. Thursday starts at 9:00. Electronic music DJs.
Is he an advertiser on the show?
EDM, no, but this is me being. Sincere about promoting something, and because it's right here downtown Hollywood on 20th Avenue between Hollywood and Harrison on the east side, and a lot of people that I know go there.
Yeah, so you know a lot of people. See, I don't really know anybody. Fred.
Well,
Frederick is the only one I know.
There's more to life than G's. Kent Wallace.
Well,
I know because you've been all over the place. You've lived in.
I've lived everywhere.
Everywhere. Look at you. You got
But every once in a while, you look
some
around,
highway miles on
you just miss the smell of a woman, their hair,
sure,
all that warm skin, smooth stuff.
It'll happen. I know how my luck runs after this time, and it'll happen when I get just really too busy.
Yeah, no, I know.
When I get good and busy, just way too busy to have a romance going on, then I'll meet somebody.
Exactly.
I'm like, timing.
No, you're right.
Here it goes with the timing. That's how my thing always works. Because Murphy's Law just really is strong in this one.
Yeah.
I can alter probabilities by playing Murphy's Law against itself. Like just carrying an umbrella won't rain, right?
Exactly.
Spare full of air, no flats. We'll not get a flat.
Leave the condom at home.
Yeah.
Girl.
Oh yeah. No. Laundry. I got. Man, I'm like 1 week overdue for laundry. I'm starting to wear my underwear twice now. That's when you. I shouldn't be wearing these underwear today. And that's when you meet the girl. It's like, I've been too busy to bathe for the last 2 days. Now meet the girl. Oh hey. Oh no. Yeah.
Hey, you want to go to my house? Yeah. Talk about some things. Not really.
Right.
Today. Can we reschedule?
Yeah. Right.
I would like to.
Got so much we're walking around without me.
I don't know. I don't know what you're looking for in a woman. That's a setup.
Oh.
You're supposed to say.
Be in one?
You're supposed to say me. I don't know what you're looking. Let's try this again. I don't know what you're looking for in a woman.
Me.
There you go. See, this is how vaudeville lessons, vaudeville 101 on the George Rodriguez show. Who was that lady I saw you with last night?
That was no lady. That was my wife.
See, there you go. That's how it goes.
Lady of the night.
So. I need somebody that will both go roller skating and to the raves. I need both of those things because I do a lot of both of those things, and I want someone that will enjoy those things with me. And of course, there's sex and the concerts and movies and all these other things that are pretty standard. But those two things I've noticed aren't for everyone. I don't want to be judgmental. Not everyone, especially when they are, within a decade of me, age-wise. And the people that don't go to the rave-like parties, they make fun of me for going. But you know who doesn't make fun of me for going? The people at the parties. That's they're the modern hippies. Right. They're a very lovey-dovey, all-inclusive crowd. I've gotten, I want to be like you when I grow up. Hey, man, great to see you here, oldster.
Right.
On many occasions. It's like, right on, buddy. Way to like our shit. They're flattered. What is it?
Do they have any like early raves, like start in the afternoon?
Like early bird. Oh, early bird raves.
Early bird.
That's going on the show description.
Yeah.
Early bird raves. Oh, we got to call that.
I could be down for that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Early bird raves just for Kent Wallace. I'm going to talk to the people in the community. Yes, the candy ravers.
This guy's a Svengali, isn't he?
Kent, I've been bragging about Kent for a long time now. He's quite the Renaissance man.
Right.
He's all over the place, man. He's multifaceted. He's a well-rounded dish, if you will. Kent Wallace, a cosmopolitan man.
A man of distinction.
Yes.
And ladies, he brags about being circumcised, so I guess that's something to be happy about.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
That's like bragging about being white, man. How do you brag about something that had
about
nothing
it.
to
How
do with
you
you?
even know I'm circumcised?
How do you?
I said I was bar mitzvahed.
Do you know that,
say
Jack?
a lot
That's right. You
during
did.
G's, like-
You did say that you were bar mitzvahed.
Yeah, after a couple of beers, Kent is a very, very...
I'm open about things.
Yes, very open.
So he showed
Very
you his
open.
penis.
So
did
there's
he?
plenty of room in the
He said,
bathroom.
"Hey, Jack, check this out. Do I measure up?"
Wait.
Oh.
Well, he needed a swizzle stick. They were one evening.
Hey, Jack, what's your
For
blood
his
type?
cocktail.
Blood type?
I asked you first. Yeah.
No. I don't
Are you afraid? You afraid?
No.
I'm not going to cast a spell on you. All right.
It depends. After
I
that,
don't even know what
after
mine
that
is.
Wicca episode we had, I don't know.
Did I tell you
Can't trust
my crazy idea that I think will work? All right, this is going to be a new thing because they're always speaking of like the rave people, they're into body modification, as are the fetish people, tattoos, piercings in various places, the gauged ears, pierced eyebrows, things of that sort, pierced noses. Sometimes people that are in the alternative lifestyles, they scarification, branding. Have you you've seen this? You've encountered this. So there's really, I really feel that there's a lot of not pressure per se, but there's an incentive to do something new. Like, what's going to be the next weird thing? Right. What's going to be the next weird thing that people are going to go, wow, man, way to raise the bar. Wish I'd have thought of that one. No, well, that's what a lot of people say. I mean, there are people that are weird.
That would be way off the charts. It would be a finger. Believe
There are
me,
people.
It would be a finger.
Well, I saw that there was a movie
Or a
where the
toe.
Yakuza they did that.
Oh, they did that?
to show loyalty. They cut off their own finger to show that they're willing to.
That's
It's like,
great.
yeah, I'm drawing the line on that. But I've got another great idea. Bear with me over here.
Remind me not to go to Papua New Guinea and Yakuza.
Who's popping? Who's Guinea over here?
Who you
Yeah.
talking about, Guinea?
So here's my idea. You ready for this? I think that this could catch
Let's
on.
hear it.
You've heard of skin grafts, right? You
Yeah.
have to have the same blood type.
Oh yeah, you could do.
So you
skin
take
graft.
someone like myself and Jack, and what we do is we get a patch of skin like on our arm, and we carve it in a shape,
Right.
let's say like a star
Right.
or something. And I have Jack's skin grafted onto me, and my
do the
skin
same.
grafted onto Jack. And so then I have a black star on my arm, and Jack has a white star on his arm, and it's
Somehow I
skin.
think
It's a
that would
different
work
color
better for
skin.
you than it would for him. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
Well, it might
see
help
the,
Jack.
The white guy with a black star on a chick's gonna go, oh cool. You
I mean,
see a
I'm
black
just
guy with
throwing
a white
star out
what
there.
the
It could be
fuck
like
you
a
gonna-
crescent.
It didn't quite work for Michael
pan.
Jackson.
It's not
It
fair.
could be like you could take a strip around the arm, like make a band, like
Yeah. Well, in any event, I think you may be onto something. Because that would be
just
something that they
crazy enough
could
to work.
do.
It's like and
you
like
could
nobody
do that,
copied that. It could just be like a circle, like a patch.
That'd be
I go,
weird.
and by the way, Jack, just think about the possibilities. If we do this often enough, we could
turn into each other.
eventually, right? You could hail a cab, and I could get a big dick.
It depends
You know
on.
what? The only thing would happen to him is he'd get a billy club up his asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It depends on how he says that.
We can see just exactly how much skin I have to transfer before Jack can hail a cab,
Yeah.
or get service at a restaurant. Where were you? Do you want to give that report? Because I think it's important.
yeah,
I think it's very important to share.
You got dissed at a restaurant.
Yeah, but I'm an even keel guy, so I don't really take
No.
too much offense to it.
No, let's talk about it.
I mean, you really felt it was because you were a black.
We have to report.
Oh, definitely was because I was a
Really?
black guy.
Wow.
There was the ESPN studio.
I was trying to tell him this because black people don't tip. There's something like that.
No, but that's another topic we could get into.
That's not true.
Off other tables, but that's
I don't do that anymore.
Oh my
I've
God.
grown past that. I've grown past that. No, I was doing filming of the ESPN studios opening down at the Clevelander on South Beach, and big schmoozy event. Everybody's out there, and they're passing around Horse divers,
right,
or dervs,
right,
and they're just walking past us. Guy with the camera, little equipment and stuff like that,
Yeah.
just walking past us. And one of the guys that you met earlier this week, Terrence, he's real militant, used to jump out of parachutes,
Yeah.
Army guy. And he's like, do you see this shit? Do you see this? They're just ignoring us. Look at them. And we signal one of the guys like, hey, can we have that? Mm-hmm. And he looks over to his manager. He's like, do we feed them? Can we feed them?
Maybe are these the chauffeurs?
Yeah, are these the chauffeurs? Is this the help? So you feed everybody. That's what the manager replied. You feed
he did?
Yeah, but we eventually.
So the guy, oh my.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons because Terry's not from here. He's from D.C., so he's not used to the South Florida culture. But I took
Is that part of the? See, this is what.
I took it with a grain of
Keep
salt.
Forgetting I'm in the South.
This is the deep South, even though you do have to go
is.
north to go south down here. Hello, SoFlo.
That's the line.
SoFlo Radio.
Yes, hi. This is Dominic Daniel there.
Dominic Daniel, welcome.
Yes.
We just go right on the air on this show. Dominic Daniel, who was here yesterday on Rick's show on the radio, Rick Santese, who's going to be part of Art Walk, and I'm so glad you called in.
Oh, good.
We were talking about you, and Kent Wallace, who's here promoting the whole Art Walk thing, asked, "Where's Dominic's art going to be?" And I said, "I don't know. He's going to call." So there you are, Dominic. Tell us about your art, which is actually good. I really hate pretentious modern artists, and Dominic Daniel is not one of them. It's actually good art that looks like somebody with some talent made it.
All right.
So there.
Where are you?
Or I wouldn't have invited him,
Dominic.
What is that?
Where are you exhibiting?
I will be at the Cinema Paradis show on.
Oh, okay. So are you the feature artist?
Yes.
Good.
It's a solo exhibit there.
Wonderful. I look forward to seeing your work.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm real honored to be part of the Hollywood Art Walk. It was something I've been wanting to do for a while, and I finally got back into it. And I'm glad that I'm debuting pretty much tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's a great. It's nice that Theater Paradiso came on board. Michelle
was really sweet about it because I had done an exhibit at her other location in Fort Lauderdale, and she took a liking to what I had, and she said, "Listen, I want to do a show with you for the next Art Walk, which was coming up." So I was like, "Great."
So you'll have anything outdoors on the easels as well as inside, or because typically, depending on the weather, that's a nice thing, for people to be able to meet the artist and be drawn inside.
Exactly. I think she's, from what Michelle mentioned to me, it'll be like an open house style kind of exhibit there. So I think there'll be some in the lobby, and hopefully the weather will hold up, and we'll have a couple out there. I have like 12 paintings I'll be exhibiting, and there's about like 6 or 8 that will be debuting for the first time at our location. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, I will definitely introduce myself as I'm making the rounds with my posse.
Oh, fantastic. I look forward to meeting you.
Thank you for pronouncing that and enunciating that, Kent Wallace. Dominic, you also you drum, you do. Because I don't know, Rick didn't spend enough time talking about your music. Are you in a band that's currently active that we can go see? Also,
no, because I'm part of TMG management, John Tovar's management. I'm like kind of the in-house drummer, so I'm playing with at least 4 different kind of groups.
But in studio mostly.
What is that?
Is it in studio mostly, or what?
It's showcases mostly. I do showcases. I just came back from New Orleans, and we did Cutting Edge Music Festival over there, which was real good because they're part of the South by Southwest Music Festival from Austin. And but it's mostly showcasing. I do go in the studio sometimes if drummers need. If the band needs to lay down some tracks or some work that they're doing. So I'm looking. I'm hoping he's got a project for me now to have more like a permanent home and have a permanent band to be with. He's got an artist now called Vivian Icon. She's putting together a band project. So we'll keep our fingers crossed and see, because I'd like to be more stable in a band as opposed to be a hired gun, because it's much more creative for me. If I know where I'm going, and it helps out. It's better that way. Than to be playing with so many different people. Although that's great too, because I meet other people. I'm playing different styles of music, so it opens me up to other kind of genres, which is something I enjoy. So.
Well, that's great. What would you describe your art as? I hate labels. I know everybody does, but so for the people out there that never seen your art, how would you?
It's it's schizophrenic because it depends on my mood, and I have abstract, and then I have surrealism. I have landscapes. I have impressionism, cubism. It varies. If anything, it's whimsitaneous.
That's a good word.
Yeah,
I like that.
I made it up. So
Sure. No, I like to make up words too. That's great.
Yeah,
I like
it's
it.
instantaneous. It's something, I try to find the humor and some very vibrant colors, but again, depending on my mood, I can go a whole other way.
So are we going to see a nice mix tomorrow?
Yeah. There's a nice. I mean, Michelle wanted something a little bit more specific, more vibrant colors, which I have. Something I wouldn't say more contemporary, but there's some contemporary kind of pop art.
Nice.
Since it's a theater, we wanted some. We have a cinema theme. I have like a Clockwork Orange painting that I'll be showing. It's a little one, and but we wanted vibrant colors. There's some paintings. One painting called Solo that is a tribute to Sonny Rollins, the saxophone jazz legend. So I'm going to have that. So we're sticking with music and some like landscapes and some very vibrant kind of colors there. There's one painting that she likes called The Soloist, and it's a lot of colors and it's very Picasso-esque, I guess. So.
And of course, they're all for sale, right?
Yes, they are.
Good.
Yes, they are. I'm only exhibiting the ones that are for sale. I wanted to exhibit one that I did, but unfortunately, it's already taken. So.
Great. Don't mind that. I'm playing Clockwork Orange music. Happens to be like one of my all-time favorite movies. So, and I think I saw your piece at Cinema Paradiso when we went.
What is that?
I think we saw your piece at Cinema Paradiso. If nothing else on the screen, didn't Rick show that on the slideshow that was on the screen before the performance when you had that show there?
I think I forgot what he showed, but I know that Michelle has it on her Fort Lauderdale Film Festival site, the Clockwork Orange. She used that as kind of like the intro, the introduction to me. So, and I think it works fine, being
Great.
that it's a cinema and everything.
Well, it's good stuff. I'm not just saying that. I would have just ignored you and not given you the card and told you to call if I didn't like your stuff. So glad you're part of the Art Walk. Glad you're part of the downtown Hollywood scene.
Thank you.
Because we love it. And we'll see you. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there.
I look forward to meeting you tomorrow. I will definitely be out and about, so I will stop by for sure and introduce myself.
Good. I look forward to it. Yeah, I'm there from 7 to 10. I'll probably be there like around 7:30 because we're on a tight schedule there. But I'll be there most of the entire night. I'm going to try to make the rounds also to other galleries because I love.
Yeah, you got to do that because
Yeah.
you'll be impressed if you haven't already done it. Up and down Hollywood Boulevard and especially on Harrison, which is sort of how Harrison's creating its own identity.
Yes. Well, another friend of mine, he's got an exhibit that he's doing there at Art 2020.
Yes, that's what we're talking about. The girl Cindy.
Yes, and that's my friend Evan and from Resurrection Drums, and he's he invited me to come. So I'm definitely gonna make it out there. I've been there before. I've done the Art Walk before, but this time being part of it, and I want to go introduce myself and see the other artists because that's inspiring just to see what other people are doing. And,
Indeed.
It helps me out.
Well, that's very cool.
Great, Dominic. Thanks so much for calling in.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank you for having me there. And you guys are fantastic. I love what you guys are doing, especially for the local scene and local talent there because we need it. There's a lot of talented people out there, musicians, actors, artists, and they don't have a spotlight to showcase. So, you guys give them that opportunity. That's super.
We even promote transsexuals.
Power to the people. Accidentally and on purpose. All right, Dominic, have a good time tomorrow.
All righty. Thank you so
All
much.
right.
I look forward to meeting everyone.
You bet. Dominic Daniel, ladies and gentlemen. And he's also a handsome, stylish man, if I do say so myself. He dresses like an artist. When he came to the show yesterday, he had the beret and everything.
He did.
At Cinema Paradiso, when I met him, he had the skinny mustache.
Oh, yeah.
And the very stylish hair, and he was dressed in all black, very fitted shirt and everything.
Man.
Yeah. So, totally looks the part. Totally, you want a painting signed by this guy.
Yeah.
I'll
just bring. People bring a painting, any painting, and he'll sign it.
No, your friend who is coming in, he is an artist also.
Fred Salaff is an artist in the sense that Fred is a filmmaker, documentary filmmaker. He was a musician. His brother is like in one of the famous Cleveland quartet or whatever. He's been around. He's also worked in a little bit in the adult side as a photographer. He's been a fashion photographer. He's done it all.
You say that like don't freak out and hate this guy just because.
Don't be a hater, man.
He was.
But he's done. Fred. He is a true Renaissance man as well. And we met 30 years ago in Manhattan through my daughter's mother, who was a model, and that's how we met through her. He was on. Never mind.
Yeah.
Where are you going? There's a danger. Stream of consciousness is a dangerous thing, man. You just let's get.
Look who's talking.
Tell you what. Next time that you come on the show, we'll do a whole bunch of cocaine and Ambien, and then let's see what kind of an interview we get out of you.
Hey, you know what? If you put a line of cocaine in front of me nowadays, I wouldn't know what the starting side was. I wouldn't know. How do you do it? It would confuse me.
Left to right, man. Left to right. It's always left to right, just like reading. Yeah,
Hebrew thing where you do it the other way.
I know. Well, you mean you
Jewish
could.
People do it from the right to the left.
You know, really, left-handed people go right to right. Left-handed people go right to left. Yeah, it's just like you thought it would be. It was like it's like the toilet flushing, northern hemisphere kind of. You know, that's here's science word for the day. The force or the effect that determines in which direction the toilet water swirls, or any other whirlpool for that matter, depending on the hemisphere, is called what?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was spacing out.
It's okay. The Coriolis effect. How do you like that?
Look, the toilet goes in the reverse direction.
Don Corleone
piece
from
of
the
your
San Diego Chargers.
I thought that the Coriolis was part of your inner ear.
That's Coriolis.
I thought it was a family.
We can just keep doing this all day, or we could take a break because I have to use the restroom. This is the format on the George Rodriguez show: is we take a break whenever I need to use the restroom or refill my water glass or eat more pork rinds or something like that.
More water.
15 till 2 on all Pork Rind Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
SoFloRadio.com is the exclusive radio home of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers Football Club. Listen for every corner kick, penalty kick, save, and goal on SoFloRadio.com.
To Anderson, the save by the save by Gorick, but the putback by Darnell King, and the Strikers are up 2-0.
Silverman on Sports host Bruce Silverman brings you the play-by-play. SoFloRadio.com, bringing you every Striker home game, starting live at 7:30. SoFlo Radio, talk, music, sports. SoFloRadio.com.
Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now, 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
Bushwood.
As I jump inside the ocean so blue,
with their sophomore release, Tidal Wave.
We've waited all this time to get the real world off your mind. Yeah.
Get yours on iTunes. Listen on Spotify.
Wait a minute. Whoa.
What?
Just because you make the best pizza in town don't necessarily mean you can voice your own commercials.
Why not? Look.
To do radio anymore.
It's 7 a.m. Steve is already thinking about tomorrow, which is why he's investing in his heart health by eating Kellogg's Raisin.
gonna make you eat that?
I happen to like raisins. Invest in your heart health with Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
I said, I'm yours and you are mine. Figure of speech, of course. I tell ya, we didn't fight this time. We made love. We made love. Simultaneous orgasm. We made love. We made love. Though sometimes we fucked and been in love. Love, sometimes we fucked and been in love. 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 The indifference of popcorn, the smoky Saint Sebastian, the belly face played the corporate corner trade hall. The working class tomato admirers, the big boys in leather jackets, step on the faces of just because I live like live. But they never hit a chip. But they never hit a chip. Never, never, never hit a chip.
What did you say in the song? We are the what?
We are the niggers.
Really? Now?
Yes.
Did you
the what?
Jack?
We are the niggers.
Jack.
I didn't have my headphones
I don't.
on.
No, you didn't hear that.
Glint our eyes when we pass.
Over and over again, he was.
No,
chanting
no. It's
during the song.
It says no. It's used once at the end of the song.
He just chanted that. You could
Am I in
play
the
it.
right place?
You could play it again. I
We'll
don't
find out in a minute.
Is this the right studio?
I don't know. Fred Salaff, ladies and gentlemen, a friend, at least he used to be.
He used to
when
be,
he got here,
yeah.
a friend of Kent's. You know, when he said a friend of mine is coming in, I pictured a 4-foot gnome. And
I'm close to that. I am from Alaska.
I have.
Is that right?
From Nome, Alaska.
Not from Nome, Alaska. How do you like that?
But I'm boom.
I had a friend with a double hair lip and a club foot that he used to hang out with to get the girls. You know,
Yeah,
he actually
right.
he actually got the girls. You know, I was talking about a plan that backfired.
I had a girl like that. What are you talking about?
I'm sure that that Fred
Yes.
is the one that gets the girls. Well, probably because he's a filmmaker. You know, and that's I don't know what's better, lead singer of a rock band or filmmaker, as far as girls having sex with you because they want to be near you.
If you hang up a shingle that says photographer,
yeah, you get all the
that's it.
action, really. Because
then if you say website designer underneath that, it's a double whammy.
Yeah, because they all want their website.
That is correct.
Especially,
and they all want to be models.
A particular kind of woman, shall we say, wants a website that features pictures of herself and and they're looking for that kind of a gentleman.
That's partially correct. It's correct.
This is
I want to work with a woman like
this
that.
is hope for the future. You know, my father was a photographer, and it's easier than ever these days. I remember when he was, and you know, and then of course that was his dream. So he never made any money there. He was like a bank teller to pay the bills, but he had the camera that you look down in and all this stuff, and had a dark room and all this
That was
other
called a roll eye.
complicated stuff. A roll eye?
A roll eye. You had to look down.
You had to look down.
To look straight forward because it had a mirror in there, and you had to look down and then out again.
He was very proud of it, the tripod and everything, and it was a very complicated just to get a picture with it.
I don't need a tripod. I'm called a human tripod.
Really? Is that is that a penis
TMI.
joke?
Sorry, is it what?
Is that a penis comment over here? Because
no, I was just called the human tripod because my films and photos never shook. Okay. They didn't show any blur.
You're a steady-handed man. As they say.
Yes,
Well,
very steady on my feet.
Depending on what you were shooting. Well, welcome to the show.
We actually on the air
we're
already?
Yeah, no, you thought it was practice.
Yeah, Fred.
That's how my show sounds.
Well, I
all
heard
the
the
time.
title of the song, and I didn't know whether I was in.
I go to a lot of effort to make it sound like we're not actually doing a radio show. Very successfully, as a matter of fact. No one ever says it sounded like a radio show. It's that's just some chaos. That was a train wreck, a slow motion train wreck at that. I never thought it would end.
See that title of that song could get a white person in a great deal of trouble.
That's not the title. That was just that was the
other
chorus.
one.
No. That was it wasn't even the chorus.
N-word.
It's the last word at the end of the song, and what it implied was
nigger?
it was a compliment. It was as in 81. Nigga, we are the niggers, meaning we are proud. We see each other, the kind of people that we are.
Oh.
We see each other, we glint our eyes when we pass. We recognize each other, and we wink at each other because we are the kind of people that get it, and we are therefore the niggas of the world.
Try explaining.
And that's what it meant.
But you didn't say nigga. You said nigger.
We are the niggas.
However,
listen. We are the niggas. Glint our eyes.
Hold those headphones. Put those headphones on, and you have the song right there. You can just play a little piece of the end of it.
However you say that,
yeah.
Wouldn't
I don't
cut
think you're
any
allowed.
water with either of my two wives, both of whom were black.
Well, I understand.
But I had a license to say the N-word, but I never used it.
As I understand, you might have had a license, but Kent Wallace has not been issued a license to say the N-word.
Oh, really? Nominated for vice president of the Black Student Union in high school? Get lost.
When me and Jack get our skin swap, when I get my patch, that's what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it my black patch. That's then that will entitle me to use the word because
he's Cuban, by the way.
Look at here.
Cuban.
Yeah,
he looks, if you're bald, you're Cuban. Take off your hat. Take off your hat. Well,
totally.
partially Cuban.
Partially.
From the waist down.
But see,
that's
you
bald.
know what, George? That's a self-serving experiment that we be doing with the skin swap.
Yeah,
because that didn't quite work out for Michael Jackson. He had billions.
No, well, I don't think that was a skin swap. That wasn't decoration. Shit. That was, by the way, to prove a point that I've always had, when he leached all of the blackness out of his skin, that's when he stopped making good music.
But he wanted the white privilege, though.
And the nose. I don't
but
think
he
so.
can still dance.
You know what? Somebody told him, if you're white, you can have sex with children, and it's okay. It's like, no, you have to be white and a Catholic priest. See, there
you go.
Wasn't enough.
It
wasn't enough.
I repeat, am I in the right studio?
I think so. Ken said that you were a degenerate.
This is a stream of consciousness show.
Ken said that you were completely amoral. That you had
all of the above, but
no integrity or a moral conscience whatsoever. And I said,
no, that's not quite true.
Right up our alley. Sounds great. Bring in two of them.
I wouldn't have said that.
I think he said that you were the person that I could blame for him being here in South Florida.
Yes.
So
you get complete blame for that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to thank you now on the air.
Things you could blame me for it too.
Right.
You got
more than enough time
from New York days. Yeah.
We'll thank you for it now, and then later on I'll we'll throw you down the stairs.
Pretty much.
Just to so we have a different persona on the air. No, I love Kent Wallace. Thank you for bringing him to Florida. He's a wonderful audition. Kent Wallace is so awesome. He makes up for 3 South Florida assholes. He cancels out 3
Well, he
assholes
certainly got
by
the
his
voice
presence
for
here.
3 assholes, or maybe 5.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
His voluminous voice can.
His voice is very voluminous.
Very voluminous.
Yes, he's quite the diaphragm.
Yeah, just like all my women.
Quite the
Very
pair.
voluminous and
Ken's over here blushing, ladies and
diaphragmal.
gentlemen.
Of your 2 wives, so have you gotten rid of them or not? Are on
Just
the third
first,
now?
Just the first. No. I'm not quite as in the league as Kent. I haven't
How many
racked up
times
as
have
many
you been
home
married?
runs.
Because I don't understand people that do it twice.
He's happily married.
I'm happily married to a Cuban now.
Oh, good Lord! How is that even possible, man? I don't like them, and they don't like me. And I am Cuban.
What, women?
Is there a good reason for that?
I just we because I like Irish. I was raised American, very American in very rednecky places, and we're very wrong for each other, and we agree. We agree about that. It's like and it's not there's no hostility or animosity. Just we just look in different directions. I don't go for that attitude. And not to say that all Cubans are the same, because I'm an exception. Latin women in general, they're a little bit high energy. They're a little bit high strung for
that does describe my wife, that's for sure.
For my
Very
taste,
high
a little bit
energy.
arm flapping spazzes, as opposed to the cool, chill Irish woman who will just sit and have a drink with you, and then bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang.
And I know, I'm talking about sex, not drive-by shootings, although they're good for that. Also, since
Are you
we're
saying
all
that 'cause I'm
here in
here?
South Florida.
But were you born in Cuba?
I am. That was my ID. Let me show you my
ID.
Let me show you my.
You have been born.
My tag.
What was the town where you have a home now,
Here,
Fred?
he told me that. Here, there's my ID. My tag.
Cienfuegos. We have a house.
Cienfuegos. I thought I was born in Marianao, which is a suburb of Havana. My family had a complex there.
Are you?
And some
and he still has a
and some
complex.
property too. Oh, got it.
That's long gone.
Yeah, no, I have an aunt that still lives on the property, but certainly it's been absorbed by the government. There's a pizza parlor and a police station on it, amongst other things. Yeah, certainly. That's long gone. They still got the deed. They're this close to using it as toilet paper, but they just get a brown paper bag just in the nick of time, and they don't have to go for it.
The deed will not fade away. The deed will be good forever as long as your grandmother stays there.
Sure. Well, no, not.
government will not
She's a grand aunt, I should say.
Well,
So,
that
whatever.
relative will if the title is in her name, that will not change.
Are you speculating that if there is a regime change, that the proper owners of properties have a chance of recouping
Absolutely not.
their land? Okay,
Zero.
Okay,
forget about it. Zero.
I was gonna say, see there, hear that, Ernest Hemingway? I told you weren't gonna get your shit back.
He would get it back. He would get it back under the honorary statute.
Yeah.
He's an honorary citizen of Cuba.
Sure.
So he would get his back. It's called Finca La Fijia.
Really?
That was the name
yeah,
of
but
his little
there
farm.
has to be a regime, whatever regime comes next, and there probably will be, has to have an interest or a desire to do that.
To do what?
To return people's property to the rightful owners. You don't think?
No, those people left the revolution. They left.
Right.
They
Oh,
left.
but the people
They
that stayed
to come back.
They did.
Expected to come back and reclaim their property.
I try to tell them that.
We're
They
now
don't want to listen to me.
entering like the sixth decade.
Been all through
It's
it.
a little bit like abandoned property. At
Grew
the
up
post
listening
office.
to it,
It's
sure.
now the property of the post office.
But still, even so, the regime, there would have to be a non-communist regime take over before there were any possibility of even the people who live in Cuba being able to take control of their own property back.
It's like having people leave China and having China say, "Well, we're going to have a regime change, and it's not. It's going to be earth shaking. We're going to throw out all the communists."
It would almost be
a
like the
possibility.
Jews going back to Israel after 2,000 years, and I'm sorry, wait, never mind. Sorry, bad example.
It frankly is a bad example. It's not a good example.
Write that down,
But it
George.
ain't gonna happen in Cuba the way
I
the
know.
scenario is.
I know.
And the next regime that follows the two brothers is going to carry on the traditions of the revolution.
So you have property there. Is what
It's
Kent
not
said.
in my name because
Okay.
I'm not a full-time resident of Cuba.
I see.
It's in the name of my mother-in-law, who is.
Okay.
And under the
There you
new
go.
law, any Cuban resident, full-time resident, can own up to 2 houses.
Wow.
2 properties.
So when was the last time you were there?
About 2 weeks ago.
Wow. How do you like that? And how's it doing? Because I haven't been there since 1969.
I was in the most spectacular resort built by the Spanish hotel chain called Sol Melia. and they built a place called Cayo Santa Maria Las Dunas, which is to die for. It's an all-inclusive resort.
I think that's what the name it says. This
dunes.
resort is to die for.
It's the dunes, but it's spectacular. And it was in 10 years ago, you would not find very many Cubans. At one point, they were not even allowed to go into
Sure, it was a very apartheid-esque situation over there.
Now, that law changed maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and Cubans are flooding into, of course,
do they have a Cuban quota now? It's like 20 Cubans a day?
No, there's no quota.
Do they have the brown paper bag test?
Anybody who can pay the freight.
Okay.
Or the Cuban government rewards
Well, there goes the neighborhood.
Good Cuban workers with vacations at the best hotels and best resorts.
Excellent. Well, I would like to see things turn around. Have you ever seen? Because it's I didn't know we'd be talking Cuba stuff. We'll get to your films. We have a whole hour over here, but in order to take advantage of the situation, most of the time when I speak to someone who has been to Cuba recently, it's a Cuban, and the conversation has to be in Spanish, and they have a
Steve is already thinking about tomorrow.
And they have a particular
agenda.
And it's not what you would think it is, not what it used to be, because my generation came over. We're all very familiar with the Cuban exile community rhetoric. The Cubans that come over more recently certainly have a much different perspective than that. Mm-hmm. Okay, and I met a family at the roller rink. They'd been coming to various sessions regularly. And I didn't know that they were, and they didn't know that I was Cuban. And then as soon as they found out, I was like, "Oh my God!" But they couldn't speak any English. They had just gotten here, and they were looking pretty good. They were looking very white, very well dressed. And I thought y'all. Didn't y'all leave? Didn't we all leave years ago? All the white people, because that's what the revolution was largely about. It was the inequity that was going on at the time. It was very much like a plantation nation under Batista and before Castro. Absolutely. You had the public education system did not apply to the people of color, and whether they were of African or Indian descent, and they lived out in El Campo and they lived without electricity.
Rate before the revolution was extraordinarily high.
Yes, it was ridiculous, and it wasn't just the education; it was any benefit. It was a very dual class system, the kind of structure that a lot of Southern Americans would like to see here.
They would, but it was not very much different from any part of Latin America.
Right, but that's what the revolution
controlling the rest of the population.
Right, people of European ancestry basically owning and controlling everything, and it was a very, very bigoted scene. So that's what the revolution was reacting to, and that's what went on. So so it was the white people getting disenfranchised, and so of course
because you didn't see any black. There are no black people in Hialeah. Unless they're maids,
right? So they're the ones that up and ran, and depending on when they left, took what they could with them. I had family members that could see the writing on the wall. One of my brother's godparents went to college with Castro, and from radio broadcast number 1, he said to the family, "This guy's a commie, and he's not going to be bringing democracy, and we need to leave now." And they all played it.
But nobody really knew about Castro at that time. He didn't even know himself.
Well,
the first place that he visited after taking power, he went to see Eisenhower in Washington, who completely rebuffed him.
Oh, did he? Like buffed him like with a shoe?
And there was this big fat Russian commie bastard named Nikita who said, "Hey, young man, we can take good care of you." Yeah. So when Batista completely raided the national treasury of Cuba, there's no money to feed 10 million at that time, close to 11 million. What were you going to do? You went to the United States first, asked for help. It didn't come from America, so the Russians opened their arms, and the rest is history.
I get in trouble a lot trying to be, I'm the gringo commie apologist in my family, just for trying to put things in perspective, because it's all very one-sided, and it's like, you sound like there weren't any problems at all before Castro. And Castro was definitely a reaction to what was going on at the time, and the revolution was a reaction to what was going on at the time. That is not to say that it was the right answer, but but it was a bad scene, and somebody was going to do something. Somebody was going to react to it.
There was no difference in Cuba than there was in Nicaragua.
No, and they have revolutions all the time,
where there were revolutions. The United States, of course, backed all of the fascist dictators in Latin America simply because they hung out their shingle and said we are anti-communist. So they got all of the aid, they got all of the backing. They threw out, the Americans helped to throw out all
Chile,
of the popular elected, like Salvador Allende and Arbenz in Guatemala. All these were legally and democratically elected leaders that were thrown out because the dictators at the time said we are anti-communist. So they were embraced by America. And,
horrible thing. And for bringing that up, I get called a commie amongst my family
aren't
members.
You a commie bastard on the side?
No, I'm not.
You're not. So you're okay.
And also something that I do is completely unacceptable is I defend Kennedy. Yeah, that's real popular at the barbecues.
Or the president?
Both, because I like rum. All right. No, the whole thing during the Bay of Pigs. The Bay of Pigs. I say, basically the CIA was writing checks that the president wasn't going to be cashing. They were writing checks that he had no idea. They were making promises that he wasn't aware of and or backing.
To be president.
No,
it ain't easy to be president.
No, it isn't.
So a big
and they would have
who wanted to throw Pastor out. They wanted to go in. At the last minute, his advisors and he decided this was not a politically prudent thing to do. So we'll let him suffer.
Starting World War III. Yeah. Over some promises the CIA made, was not going to be worth it, and that brings us to it's Kennedy's fault that I'm here, and it's your fault that Kent's here, and let's go.
Let's all
go.
What's your fault? What's your fault?
Jack. It's his parents' fault.
Who are you blaming, Jack?
I'm fitting the quota, so I'm not blaming anybody.
But what brought me to Cuba in the first place was my film business. I was hired by the United Nations, by UNESCO, to go document the work that UNESCO did in Cuba. And that UNESCO sent me to many countries in Latin America to do the same. They always told me that I have to go to Cuba one day, and Cuba's turn came up on the agenda of the Office of Cultural Patrimony, which hired me, based in Lima, Peru. So one day, finally, I arrive in downtown Havana, and my first project was to do film work and photographic work about the restoration of the Convento de Santa Clara in Havana Vieja.
Wow.
A city block of an old convent that was in disrepair for many years, many decades. And they turned it into a cultural center, an education center, a convention center, and a casa particular, a room rental place.
Yeah, it's a house in particular.
It's a house in particular. And they put me up there the first night I was there, and I was in a former nun's dormitory all by myself. My bathroom consisted of 9 shower stalls.
Full of nuns?
Even if the nuns were there, he'd be all by himself.
Yeah, very well said.
He would have gotten none.
I would have gotten none. Yes.
I know that's a very old joke.
And I worked for years in Cuba. And I met my wife during the second year that I was there.
Okay, your current wife.
My current wife.
Not number 1 or 2.
We just celebrated our 13th anniversary.
Well, congratulations. Third time's a charm.
And he has a wonderful daughter.
Yes, 1.5-year-old child, Zoe.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Well, so she's half American, half Cuban, obviously.
Sure, well, I have 2 daughters.
But she was born in America. She
was born here, and my youngest daughter
Johnson
says...
Street Memorial Hospital.
My youngest daughter would like to... her last name is Rodriguez.
Great hospital.
And she likes to, her favorite catchphrase is, I'm not Hispanic. I wasn't born in a Spanish-speaking country. I don't speak Spanish. I'm not Hispanic. Anyway, and then she'll go on to whatever. She's like her daddy, a stickler for accuracy. She speaks sign language, and my other daughter speaks Japanese. They're both Rodriguez's. Go figure. They don't speak Spanish. But hey, whatever. My Spanish is horrible.
Interesting.
Horrible. Well, they were raised, my now ex-wife, she was of Irish descent. That's my...
Oh, that's why you like that.
She was a virus? I didn't hear
a virus. She was. She is.
It kind of
she is a virus.
I just let my computer guy.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Before I came over here.
My ex-wife is
dealing with viruses.
My ex-wife is a virus.
Okay.
Descent.
She's a virus descent.
He kind of meant to say that.
Was that the stripper?
Yes. The ex-stripper. That's when she was making honest dollars. Actually, that's not true. She was making dishonest dollars even then. She eventually, once I lost my job, she had to start, making some honest money. She's too old and ugly to be a whore. anymore. So
well, she turned 22.
So she got this job. No, she held on to her looks up until the second child. And then she really let go. Boy, did she let go like she was holding on way too long. She made up for lost time. She let go and just fattened up double time. Just like just shoveling the donuts in with both hands. Her picture on my phone is of Jabba the Hutt
because she didn't want a number.
Because that's as close as I could get, man.
She didn't want a number 3. She was
well,
trying to keep you offer.
She didn't get fixed, but I did. Talk about locking the barn door way after that horse was gone down the road and had kids of its own by the time I locked the barn door. That's how stupid I am.
And he's still married to her.
No, I'm not.
No, that's over.
No,
that's why he's so bitter.
Yeah. That fat pig. She strung me along way too long, man. It left me with nothing but a stupid feeling.
Now he has to go to rave parties on roller skates.
That's it. I have actually done that. I have gone to a rave on roller skates.
I know that.
I got rave reviews. Get it? The kids are great. So, that's very interesting because, of course, I would like to visit Cuba, but I feel like my family is already, and we love each other, and there's a lot of hugging and acceptance and everything like that. But if I were to violate the embargo, I think that would be the last straw as they're concerned.
You would not be violating the embargo.
I just spend money. Don't we still have an embargo with them?
I would like to bring to your attention that you have a relative. So you mentioned some.
I know there are ways to legally allow it.
You have an aunt of some relation, right?
Yes, my father's sister. Yes.
You are entitled.
Mariana.
You're entitled to visit Cuba under general license.
Perhaps under the law I'm entitled, but you understand the spirit of the embargo as far as my Cuban exile family is concerned. I'm supposed to
when I fly to Cuba. Yeah, I fly to Cuba once every 6 weeks or so. Planes are loaded with nothing but Cubans from Hialeah.
Hypocrites and sellouts. That's what my family says about them.
And hundreds
sellouts, hypocrites, sellouts.
So
that's what
you would be disowned, is what you're trying to say.
No, I don't know. They would probably not let me get a good place in line for the puerco asado during Christmas time. They'd probably just wait and give me all that fatty parts that they know I hate. That's what would happen to me.
The lechon with
the
lechon,
fat
the crusted
really
fat is just.
I don't like the fat. I like the nice lean. I like the lean stuff.
God,
just give me a plate full of yuca, which I hate. They know I hate that stuff, and I'd go yuca, the most appropriately named food ever. Yucca. It's all stringy and
onomatopoeia, baby.
Yeah. Well, the bathroom key is right over there.
Thank you.
Feel free.
Yeah, the only one who understood me was Jack.
Yeah. Did you and just because I want to spend some time on your movies, but movies that come out of Cuba, I watch them whenever they come. I see them on enlisted and everything because I want to see slices of life in Cuba. I want to see what's going on there. I am curious. And I've been very disappointed by the films coming out of Cuba. They just, I can't say that they've been entertaining or that I like them until finally talk about like the clouds opening and sunlight shining through and angels singing Hosanna. This piece of film comes out of Cuba. It's already won a lot of awards, and I thought it was great, and I've seen it like 10 times already. Juan of the Dead. Have you heard of this film? No. It's a zombie comedy movie. And I know you're going to say the same thing that I always said. Another zombie comedy movie? How many are they going to make? A Cuban one this time? Oi, what possibly new jokes could they come up with in the comedy zombie genre? A lot, apparently. And a lot of political humor. And here's what I really enjoyed about this film, and I think that you might like it, knowing about Cuba. You'll get a lot of jokes that I don't get. I watched it with an audience of Cuban exiles and everything. And I was laughing at half of the jokes because a lot of them were very inside. They took shots at Castro. They took shots at America, or the American politics, I should say, not America, but rather the American government. They took shots at the Cuban government, and they took shots at the Cuban exile community, which I thought was very funny. And those jokes I got because they were, it's like I've been hearing that my whole life. So I would be interested to know what you thought about that movie. It was very tight. It was very funny. Subtitled, won all kinds of international film festival awards. But
have they shown it here?
Right, so far, yeah. I don't know if it's been in theaters. I saw it at a theater. As a matter of fact, the Miami Short Film Festival, the International Film Festival, people in Miami, they had a showing at one of the theaters.
I always wondered about that. It's like those rides where you can only be like up the
Yes.
chair to go to the thing.
That's why I wear lifts. So that I can get on those rides.
So you can.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, but art houses, those kinds of theaters and film festivals. That's where the film is shown. But it's on Netflix and it's making all the rounds now and everything.
I tend to shy away from movies in general that have the name or the word zombie in it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I grew up on them. I'm big into it, but they ran their course with me. It's like they started becoming very formulaic and cookie cutter. I mean, I'm just an overgrown kid, but even that got old, and I was very. I felt very jaded going to see it. I'm going to go. First of all, it's going to be another Cuban movie, which means it's going to suck because they never have enough funding. They don't know what good is. They don't know. They don't understand quality, and it's probably going to have to be run through the government filter. And what's going to be left? Just a bunch of pretentious artsy fartsy nonsense. But it was very well written. It was well acted. It was funny. First of all, because you bill a movie as a comedy, for the love of God, make me laugh, and they did. They had a lot of non-zombie humor. Just so you know, and also zombie humor, which you got to have in a zombie movie. But your films, Fred, because you said you've been hired by UNESCO. Is that,
I tend to make
documentaries.
Documentaries for 40 some odd years now.
Okay,
about musicians and documentaries for television for foreign governments. I've worked a great deal not only for UNESCO but for the German government, for the German Foreign Ministry on German high technology, when most people didn't think about Germany as producing high technology products.
Really? When? Because I thought since the 40s, ever since the V2 rocket and the buzz bomb, the Germans got some technology, and we all know it.
For example,
that's where we got our rocket science from.
Under Ronald Reagan, it was the Germans who provided the laser pointing system.
We got our rocket technology from the Germans, from Werner von Braun.
But all kind of silicon wafer technology, atom particle smashing. The second largest atom smasher in the world is in Berlin. Most people are unaware of that kind of a thing.
Oh, I have an atom smasher location map up on my wall, so I'm very familiar with the Berlin atom smasher.
Well, most people. I don't think you're most people.
Second favorite atom smasher.
You're
right next to
a Cuban emigre living in Hollywood, Florida.
My favorite such device is the Hadron Super Collider, but then I digress. So we were just having a big intensive physics conversation.
Quite big.
I think everybody.
Many technological fields.
I think that we acknowledge that the Germans and the Japanese are pretty tech savvy people.
Swiss.
That's good.
And the Swiss too.
So documentaries, and I'm thinking, last Cuban documentary I saw was Yank Tanks about the cars. That was old already. About the cars that they keep running.
They still are running.
These backyard mechanics. Yeah. Making replacement parts by hand, basically with no measurement tools, eyeballing the original part, and then just like sculptors.
The Cubans know how to fix everything, including
just ratcheting. That is why, and I'm glad you brought that up.
That documentary
because I would like to coin the phrase "spick rigging" because I understand that the people of color don't like the other phrase
that was nigger rigging,
right, meant as a compliment, and they're somehow offended by that. So I want to take it to
well, if you say it like Kent, then
spick rigging. I know he said that. I heard that in the song.
I heard it.
You said you said grr like Tigger.
It's that grr. It has a little edge to it.
What's Winnie the Pooh's friend's name? Tigger.
Not Tigger.
Yeah.
Well, I think you have a list.
What color is Tigger? He's orange.
Orange.
You know the wonderful thing about Tigger. So Yank Tanks was all about that, and it showed interviews with these guys, and with a little rat tail file, filing a piece of metal to make it look exactly like some carburetor part, and then making it work, cutting out piston rings out of coffee can lids, and the cars are still running. It's an amazing thing. It was very fascinating documentary. I like documentaries. I would love to see some of your work. Where can I steal it? Where can I BitTorrent your movies?
One of my documentaries that I shot partially in Cuba is called Passage to Panama, a musical journey. It's about the history of the music of Panama.
Okay.
Which is the richest.
Hey, Randy.
It's the richest musical. Panama has the richest musical heritage in this hemisphere because of its geographic location.
I hate Cuban music, man.
Everything
bugs
happened.
Me.
Everything happened and passed through and by Panama.
Interesting.
I should have brought. I'll bring you a copy.
From the plantation economy to the the railroad that went from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. And the railroad, and it brought, the gold rush workers. The Americans brought their folk music. The miners from New York to California, and some of them stayed, and the music developed. The French who built the French Canal brought their minuets and sarabands, and the Spanish, of course, brought their music, and the West Indians brought their calypso, and everything was modified.
So it was one great giant clusterfuck of a jam.
Yeah. And the African slaves brought their music to Cuba, and from Cuba they jumped off to Panama. So I shot a lot in Cuba as well.
And, shot a lot of African slaves in Cuba?
That's the descendants playing their wonderful music. Which
I understand the Spanish crown used to have a bounty
only up to
on
salsa.
the Indians.
It doesn't go beyond salsa into hip-hop and reggaeton and rap. And
no, I don't. Another reason my family is just very embarrassed by me is I don't like Cuban music specifically. Latin music, Colombian music. I've heard a lot of.
When you say Cuban music,
I'm talking about the classic form.
You have to go, because my wife will not listen to classic. She will only listen to the new fusion music, which is a mix of cumbia and it's a mix of all of them, of salsa.
Tell her that I said word. Because I hate that old, But I love the rhythm.
But
I love the rhythm.
She will acknowledge it. Now, I'm not allowed to say anything bad about Fidel Castro.
Hurts my ears.
I'm not allowed. She can. She doesn't. But she.
Why not?
Because it's not
comunista.
Proper. It's not
comunista.
Proper. It's not proper. I was telling Kent, though, if anybody tried to invade Cuba, 99% of the population would line up directly behind the two Castro brothers.
Wow.
99% of the
What a whammy he's done on them, then.
Well, you can't say that. I tell everybody, I will argue, and I'm going to argue with you as a Cuban. What dictator? You've had all of the famous Latin American dictators like Somoza, for example, prime example. These guys are.
I have all the trading cards.
And Batista. But what dictator puts children first? What dictator puts medical care first? What dictator gives free education, unlimited education to anybody?
Okay.
No, but there's no. So what is your complaint? What are people complaining about?
You're bringing up points that I have also made with my family. I have to be very careful how.
Can I talk to them?
How I inject them? No.
Give me their phone numbers.
Yeah, no.
Because I feel a little bit offended. I tell everybody there is no
book. Those aren't the problems
written on how to conduct a successful revolution. There may be a book on the game plan on how to get the bastards who created the situation out. But down, 50 years later, there's no book in chapter 93. What do we do now? When we have a 55-some-odd-year-old blockade. It's not an embargo. It is a blockade. That prevents medicine reaching children. That we have the Helms-Burton law that threatens and coerces people from cooperating and selling goods to Cuba. 99% of the world now does business with Cuba. And America's missing the boat again, because who's there now? The Russians are back. They're building the new port of Mariel. They're building a new airport.
Those dirty Ruskies.
Followed by the Chinese.
As soon as you turn around,
so the Americans,
that shirtless Putin.
The Americans threw the baby out with the bathwater once again. So now we have to confront the Russians and the Chinese in Cuba. So the Cubans have a new feeling of self-righteousness when we missed the boat year after year. Now, this is an issue for both Democrats and Republicans here. We want to do business within Cuba, but there is no American business in Cuba.
It's funny that I would find myself, because channeling the relations that I spend so much time arguing with. And I say these things, so now I'm going to have to channel, your very typical right-wing Cuban Republican. I'm being redundant because it's very rare to find
Marco Rubio type.
Very rare in America.
To say the least.
In this town, it's more difficult to find a Cuban Republican than any other. I mean, they're all Republicans, is what I'm trying to say. And they're very right wing. They're not just Republicans, but they're to the right of Attila the Hun. And the things that you're saying, because I've said those things, and they they wave me off because, and they say, and I'm on this show, I'm left of center. I'm not a liberal, but I agree with the liberals more often than not on most issues, and women's right to choose and gay rights and all of these things and social services and all that. So I'm the minority at my family's parties, to say the least. And I do bring up things like the situation that existed in Cuba before Castro.
Okay, what do your family say? What's the bottom line here? What does your family say about the freedom
my
of
family,
what? The freedom not to go on the street and say Fidel Castro is a son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That will get you into trouble.
Well,
but it'll get you in trouble in 98 countries in the world today.
Sure, I understand that, but this is what, and because you've heard the rhetoric before, and so you're very familiar with it, and here it is from them. They're very serious about it. They were the class that got disenfranchised, so that you're not going to gain their sympathy by crying over the lack of education or healthcare that other people were getting, because obviously we're talking about a bigoted people. The people that were responsible for this two-class system, the two-class system existed, didn't exist so like that because they cared about other people. All right, so we're talking about a people that only cared about themselves. All right, very much like the right-wingers in America. I got mine, so screw you. All right, their attitude is very much like that. So you're not going to gain their sympathy. And the people that opposed Castro verbally, especially right after the revolution, they were imprisoned and or shot. And this is the point that my family will keep hammering and yammering about, is the persecution.
What did they want?
They wanted their stuff back. They wanted their property.
They left.
They wanted their property.
What were they
back.
going to just take the next plane back?
They left
say,
because their stuff was being.
House.
Their left because everything was being constipated. Everything was being confiscated. All private property was being confiscated.
It's the spoils of war. That's what are you going to do?
Exactly.
It's the spoils of war.
They abandoned the government. They abandoned the revolution.
Well, and this is why I think you should.
Those that didn't
you watch
stay
the movie,
behind and
watch Shaun of the Dead. This point is brought up. They bring it up. It's like what the main character's daughter is back from America visiting, and she and other people in the movie. Why don't we just go to America? Like, this is a zombie infestation now, and now the island is full of zombies. As if things couldn't get any worse, now we have to fight zombies. Why don't we all just go to America? And the main character, he says, you know me, I'm a survivor. I survived Angola. I survived the special period. I survived that thing that came afterwards. And I'm going to survive this. I'm a Cuban. This is my country. This is my land. And this is where I'm going to stay. And so now there are zombies. So I'm going to fight the zombies. I'm not going to leave. You leave. And go to America where everything's so great if you want to go there. And it makes a very good point. And I know that a lot of feathers got ruffled by that statement. And again, I'm the guy at the party that ruffles the feathers by reminding them about certain facts. And that among them, it's like, Castro gave everyone education. They don't care. They care about losing their stuff. And they wouldn't have left if the government wasn't taking their stuff. And that's the whole point of view. It's many years later.
The government didn't. They left before they even knew that they would lose their houses. They left.
When my family, again, back in the compound, my family had to invite friends and neighbors to move into the houses because what the government was doing was
what the government was doing
reallocating housing.
Listen to me. What the government was doing was making sure everybody had a roof over their head.
Okay.
And under Batista, who was a criminal,
was
backed by
the mob.
A corrupt government, it was backed by the U.S. government.
That's the mob.
You mean what I saw in Godfather wasn't true with the golden telephone and the cake
company monopolies? And what the revolution did was to ensure that everybody had something to eat and had a roof over their head. And if your Aunt Molly had a 10-room mansion, so what?
Yeah.
If 8 people moved in there so they could survive, that they had some kind of health care, they had some kind of education. Tough titty. You were living. You guys voted in this guy.
Do you understand?
This is. I understand. Okay, listen. Let's close it up because this is. You're now. It's not that
this
fun.
Is fascinating. It's having a great time.
It's the same thing that happens at your folks' parties. This is a never-ending battle.
Here in America,
no right or wrong. I mean, one guy say, "Listen, you got to take care of everybody." So you happen to have something, we're taking it away. Try that in the United States. They're going to fucking pick up arms and blow your brains out. It is fucking un-American. I'm sorry. So that's just the way it is. So let's talk more about how Fred and how we met in New York and worked on Hot Chocolate Magazine together and all this. Well, no.
This message has been brought to you by Wallace.
Are you sure you want to change the subject?
Hi, Ken's daughter, Betty.
Are you sure you want to change the subject?
Yes, I'd rather talk about our days in New York.
My family's very right-wing.
Hot
like
Chocolate
right-wing
Magazine, for God's sake.
Right-wingers in America.
We had our own magazines. We had Bordello Confidential.
We had the two best magazines in the country.
Ever in the adult world.
Bordello Confidential and Black Mystique.
Black Mystique.
Now, if you had
black women.
How can you have a magazine about it if it's confidential? That sounds like an oxymoron.
We lied because we
That
wanted
sounds like a
Bordello. That was
term.
my name, Bordello Confidential, because we were trying to go off like a Pulp Fiction kind of title on. See, here's what we thought. Fred and I both had a background in the adult magazine world, and one thing that we both know as writers and et cetera, that when you read about a woman in a Playboy or any from down, right, to any skin magazine.
I know all those words individually, but not in the same sentence. Read about a woman.
Not only did the women not write them, but they weren't even interviewed. In other words, it was a writer who suddenly gives them a name and the whole history of them. They're not even interviewed. So Fred and I thought, people, wouldn't it be nice if you could actually read something true about a woman who poses in a skin magazine? And beyond that, how about that you could actually then go see and meet and interact with rather than just stroking off in the comfort of your home? So we had met Dennis Hoff, who owned the Bunny Ranch. Fred and I approached him.
Pimp Master General of the United States.
Pimp Master General of the United States.
Yes.
And Fred and I approached him with an idea. We had an idea. We wanted to use his girls. We would interview them. We'd be very true about who they were and what they did and express them in their words. And then people, Dennis said, of course, because it was a free promotion for the ranch. But Fred and I had a couple issues come out, very high gloss. It was really good stuff.
Very fine magazines. And we did the same thing with women of color. It was called the Black Mystique.
And because Fred's history in the adult world was mostly...
well, I was a photographer for Players magazine for approximately 19 years, beginning in New York and in Los Angeles. I was a white guy. It was something that was thrown upon me in 1986 or 7. I was asked by Playboy to find him a black centerfold. I had never been out with a black woman in my life up to then. Simply, I didn't have any contact with them. And then suddenly I'm thrown into the world of black models and go-go dancers. And
enter wife number
one.
Okay.
It's soon after. It's soon after that. But it was an interesting challenge. I never found the particular centerfold, but I ended up working for the Elite Model Agency, and I came into and I was filming and directing their Look of the Year model contests in the middle of the 1980s. And I actually directed the TV show in Italy called The Look of the Year. But I had literally thousands of photographs of models of all races and colors and heights and shapes, all model type though. And Playboy saw my pictures at Finest a Black Centerfold. And I was found out by a Players magazine in Los Angeles that asked me to shoot for them.
But
but you never did find the black center.
No, but a very funny story. I moved when I moved from New York. I had just met Kent, and I think he moved here to Florida, and I moved to California in 1990. I moved into an apartment building, and I saw this beautiful black girl in the laundry room. So we were sharing the machines there, and I said to myself, this could have been a candidate had I met her in New York. I didn't say anything to her. So half an hour later, I go back to the laundry room to pick up my dried laundry, and I see her again, but she was wearing something different, and she looked slightly different. I said, I'm not a drinker, so I don't know why this. So I said, you were just here a half an hour ago. She said, no, I wasn't. And then I said, you're playing a trick on me. You were here a half an hour ago putting your laundry in here. Oh, that was my sister. And I said, I was looking for a black centerfold for a year for Playboy. She says, that's me and my sister. We were the models of the year we were the black centerfold.
No kids.
And they moved into. We were neighbors, but I remember that. They were from Montana or something like that.
There was There was a puzzle. They're famous. There was a puzzle. I had a neighbor in Montana that had the puzzle of the twin girls.
That was it, and they were neighbors on my floor.
And he goes, they're from here. I go, here, Libby, and they go, oh no, but Montana.
You know what happened in the?
They're the only two girls that ever lived. Black girls that ever lived in
I was
Montana.
about to say. Yeah.
When we created Black Mystique, one of the reasons was because having worked for Hot Chocolate and Fred working for Players, and we had that background. Black girls always got shorted. I mean, that's the bottom line. They made less at photo shoots. They were.
Is that what they call them, shouty?
They always they did, and the publications were typically not as glossy and not as there wasn't as much money put into them. So we started the first high end, really classy. It's classy as a skin magazine can be, but it was Black.
But
Mystique.
the editor, the was really high class. It was super
classy skin magazine. No scratch and sniff. No fold over poster in the back.
Well, the thing was, it was tough for black models to ever feel very much respect. I mean, the white girls, like you said, they had to find a black model, so they took twins, so that did the quota for the next decade.
The next decade. Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's like it's just the way it was, and so we
got two of them in here. What do you want?
Exactly.
But Playboy was a corporation, and they had a board of directors, and they had pressure to find a black centerfold. Whereas Penthouse never had a black centerfold.
Yeah, Bob Guccione. That's what I want. It's what I want on Bob Guccione.
Bob Guccione was a down and out racist. He had the closest.
Look at this moolie. You want to put a moolie in my magazine? What's wrong with you?
He had West Indian girls, and that was as close to a dark skin that he could get. But he told me, I met him, and. He never wanted a black girl. I will never put a black girl in it.
Jack, Fred, what are you doing? What are you doing over here?
Larry
Killing
Flint
me
got
with these
shot
freaking movies.
because of putting a black and a white together.
Is that what got him shot?
Yeah.
It wasn't the porn?
Hustler Flint got shot because he did a multiracial spread.
But he had the Chester the Molester comics, which were half of them were racist. Mm-hmm. The Chester,
he would do anything to piss anyone off.
Yeah.
I mean,
Flint was not a racist.
No, he's a First Amendment dude all the way. That's
no, I didn't say that. But
he's
I mean, but the magazine,
well, a very good one. Yeah, he knew how to do it real well.
The magazine was equal opportunity offensive. It, It was like a scattergun. He wasn't. Yeah. That's how you knew he wasn't a racist because he spared nothing.
Shot. The guy said it was because of the layout. He did one of the first interracial.
I can't whack off the nigger and one of mine's next to each other.
That's weird. So
a white girl and a black guy. You know, Sunset was the first box cover girl to do an interracial film. And they said, don't do it, because the blonde girl never, you know that, Fred, the box cover blonde never did a black eye. She did, so she broke two barriers at once. She did a gangbang.
Double entendre.
And Shawn Michaels.
I was just saying.
His wiener is bigger than mine.
It was Shawn Michaels and in Sunset's gangbang.
The wrestler?
No.
Kidding,
great,
kidding.
You know, and Peter North in the
Shawn Michaels was a neighbor of mine. He was a male nurse, Shawn Michaels.
Go figure.
He was my next door neighbor. As was he was lived next door to Ron Hightower, another black actor.
Your scrotums look a bit swollen, sir.
I don't think that I ever saw you in any of those movies.
Shawn Michaels, an awesome guy, great guy, very classy guy, very articulate, good man.
I don't think I could name two male porn stars: Ron Jeremy,
John Holmes.
And John Holmes. There you go. Those
Shawn
are the two.
Michaels. What about Randy West? But
Neil used to talk about Randy. Peter North. Neil used to talk about those people, but I couldn't name that many female porn stars.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's really not that.
I know your ex.
There's a history. There's a long history. I went to high school with a girl that I absolutely lusted after.
Me too.
And she wouldn't give me the time of day because she only went out with the high school jocks.
Okay,
that was her pattern. But she was just absolutely gorgeous. And for some reason, I was always the class clown. And I landed the lead in the senior class play called My Three Angels, which was a comedy. And this girl that I lusted after was the secretary of the play. And she thought that it was high enough of an honor for me to be the star, so she would agree to go out with me. And many years later, after I returned from the University of Texas, I'm back in New York, and I bumped into her outside of a studio in New York City, and I said, "What are you doing here?" She said, "Oh, I don't really want to tell you." So I go up to but she said, you'll find out sooner or later. So I go upstairs, and it was in the same studio. It was a music recording studio where that studio I used to score music for some of my business films and documentaries. And I said, I met this pretty girl downstairs who I used to date in high school. And he said, oh, yeah, that was Suzanne McBain. I said, I knew her as a different name, which I will not mention, but I knew her as, Susan.
Right.
And I had not been a watcher. I was in Texas, and I was a music student. I wasn't watching that stuff. And they said, no, she's a big star. And she was the star of Roller Babies, and those are the days when they would take 5 days to shoot an adult film.
It was an actual film.
It was an actual film,
Right.
By Radley.
Yeah,
Metzger
I watched Boogie Nights, so I know something.
that was a feature film.
Right.
We were talking about an adult film per se.
Well, even so, I mean,
He's saying that's how he had knowledge of back in the day when
and
I had production.
My stepfather was a perv, so he had reels and stuff that was hidden, and
was his a Cuban grandfather?
No, my stepfather was a gringo.
A gringo.
Yeah, my mother came over here. That's how I wound up in all these American places. My mother married a redneck when we first came from Cuba, and off we went deeper and deeper into the woods as time went on.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Well, first here, Florida, the Redlands, then North Carolina, then Montana, and I lived in Montana from 13 to 22.
That's why it was
that's the route. That's the route.
And when I say my redneck tour,
everything,
my redneck tour of America. But when I say I really wasn't watching any porn. There was two reasons. First of all, I lived in a little town in the middle of the mountains.
There's no electricity to run the projector.
Right. We were Amish. We had to ride horses. But it wasn't as available as it might be in other places. First of all, and second of all, we didn't need porn. We were all having sex a lot, all the time with each other, because there was we have Montana jokes
or with the local you.
Yeah, there's.
Oh yeah.
Here's the Libby Montana jokes. Newcomer comes into town and says, "What's there to do?" And you say, "Dick." And they say, "What?" And I go, "Yeah, there's dick to do in this town."
There's dick to do.
Now, who are the only virgins in Libby, Montana? Ugly fourth graders.
Oh boy.
What's there to do in this town? Hunt.
Not you.
Hunt, trap, and fuck. Oh, good. What do you hunt and trap? Something to fuck.
Oh my God.
It's really, you have
That's the motto.
Nothing
That's
to do.
the state motto.
Nothing to do, and a whole lot of places to do it at. You understand? Nothing but time and space.
A lot of mountains
and
there, yeah.
Yeah, so it was almost because I came here for my senior year in high school, and then I went back, and I started comparing notes both during that year and then even when I came back after that when I was 22. You compare numbers with your friends and everything, and I discovered that they were way behind. That they were way behind growing up in a place like this, because there's so many other things to do. You can go to the movies and fairs and carnivals and beaches. So many other things to do to keep you distracted, right? And fewer places for which to carry on. That you can't just go to an alley or someone's house, but there is just like all this open wilderness, and you could park anywhere and run naked through the woods, and nobody's ever going to bother you. And it was quite the
Doesn't
hedonistic
it get tiring
atmosphere.
though, having to do with your mom over and over again?
Yeah, right. That's Appalachia, buddy. And it's not mom, it's sister, and that's a true story. But
Happy to hear it.
No, my mom is so old. My mom was 40 when I was born, so that's a really gross joke. Ew. Yeah, it was such a different.
He wishes his mom was younger and hotter.
Such a different. Yeah, then maybe
I saw that one coming. You kind of said,
yeah, right. He set that up.
It's called a set.
So I can't believe it took me that long.
It's called a setup in the vaudeville industry. But it's very casual. The casual sex was almost like it was very matter of fact there. So I can't imagine like a whorehouse would go broke if somebody decided to open up a whorehouse.
Right,
It would
well,
go
you
broke
don't have to
with
go.
so many people giving it away. And second of all, if porn ever got like really introduced, well, now the internet, everybody as much as they want, they'd probably just like, let's put some porn on while we screw. That would be the reaction to it if we had it available to us the way that it is right now. And I'm only mentioning the porn thing because you're so deeply steeped in it.
Well, I wanted to segue.
Okay, no, the segue is good. So, what are you working on now, Fred? Now that you're here, back in America?
I'm not filming too much. I'm doing some promotional films for my friend. I'm going to give him a plug, Michel Thoman, the owner of Face Restaurant up the street here, directly up the street. And some of my films made about him in the restaurant, and one called The Crazy Chef is running right now.
Where's it running? How can we find your work?
At the restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Have you not been to Face?
I don't think I've been to Face, no.
Well, you owe it to yourself. I think it's the best restaurant in South Florida.
I think Kent's going to take me one of these days.
There you go. There you go.
Not tonight, though. You got dinner.
But mostly at this moment, for the last 7 years or so, I've been a broker of very expensive cameras and lenses and tripods for the digital cinema industry.
Okay, like IMAX kind of stuff? Or?
Well, IMAX is very specialized. I'm talking about the kind of cameras and lenses that are used to shoot Hollywood movies.
Okay.
And make commercials.
Like the Red?
Yes, like the Red.
Mm-hmm.
But the highest end models of the Red.
Okay.
Like the Epic Dragon, for example.
Right, I heard about that.
And they shoot, it's sort of an ongoing battle. It shoots 6K. 6,000 lines of resolution. Ooh. And I argue why, but
why not?
Why?
I have photographer
Well, I can
friends.
tell you why not, because your post-production will be double the budget that it was when it was merely 2K or 4K.
Okay, well, that's
but I sell the most popular camera in the world, high-end, is the Arri Alexa camera. And,
really?
I sell those cameras.
Fred sells. He brokers like nobody's business. He gets buyers and sellers from all over the world. He's being a little bashful or whatever, humble, because he is the number one at what he does in the world, and that's indisputable.
You call yourself a commie?
And look, he spreads it around. Believe me. What do you think I'm here for? a lot of people live off of Jupiter.
So it's Fred that's going to buy us dinner at Face. Okay.
Fred will take care of the dinner at Face.
When it comes to Cuba, I'm a downright realist. I just have a lot of information.
I don't disagree with you. It's for the sake of conversation. I felt compelled to be devil's advocate, but because I argue with it having nothing to do with Cuba. I have arguments with right wingers here all the time about the progressive tax rate. Just that gets everyone up in an uproar. Never mind moving people into someone's mansion, because like Kent said, they'd pull out their guns and start shooting people. Just having a progressive tax rate, for crying out loud. What would be so bad about that? It's noblesse oblige, that's all. I'm a big advocate.
We all agree that we need a new tax system, period.
We do, and we need to get money out of politics, because right now the people with money have all the power. And when power is available for sale, only the wealthy will be able to afford it. And they'll buy it up, and that's all it is now. The political system is it's a fundraising contest, and whoever can raise the most money wins. And it has nothing to do with representing the will of the people.
Tragic.
And it is tragic.
But I'll tell you something who does represent the world, and that's Cahoot.
Cahoot's magazine represents.
We represent Hollywood, Dania, and points beyond.
Well,
supporting the arts.
Talk about open-ended there.
Yeah, really.
Well, I find it a terrific magazine, quite frankly. Is this the latest?
Have you seen the new one?
No, I have not. I have not.
This is the new one.
That magazine has gotten rave reviews.
Word on the drought mine.
People
crack up. I mean,
it's hysterical.
Let me tell you, having been a writer in all over the world, and when I came here and I wanted to find something to do, an outlet, because I came to work for Fred, and I wanted to find something just for my that writing outlet. I'm looking around. I see this Hollywood magazine. Oh, come on. I see this Good Times. Come on, Good News, whatever it's called. I'm looking around, and I just can't find anything. And I figured, well, forget it. Then I'm down at the beach. I see a Cahoots. I get one page, the first paragraph. I said, I'm going right to the publisher's box, and I'm signing up, because I want to write for this. This is a stand-up paper for anywhere. It could be in New York City. It could be in San Francisco. Anywhere. It's that good.
Where do you print it? Korea?
No, they printed up the road. The spell. Am I starting to sound like I'm from down there?
Yeah.
The road is
just starting to sound like you're reared in the South.
Oh, there's your new article.
There's my new article, Frederick.
And he mentions us.
I mentioned you. I mentioned them, and then look. This is the funny one. Not even. Look at see that? A distraught woman files a missing clothing report. It's just such a goofy. We have Mayor Adania writes in it. Mayor Bober writes in it. So as tongue-in-cheeky as it is and goofy as it is, it's also got there are.
It's real stuff. It's got some meat.
It's got some
in there.
Meat, man.
It's not just cotton candy.
He's got a little meat.
This magazine is actually it captures the spirit of Hollywood very accurately.
And I think that's a testament to Jeff. And I'm just proud of the advertisers that are beginning to come on board, because it shows that downtown Hollywood is starting to support papers.
By the way, where can I get I need a picture. I need the mosquito.
Did you see that? That's us in the show, last show.
Yeah.
And look, Evans Place Buddha Burger.
Very nice.
How do you like that, man? We're getting out all over the place.
Getting out there. Look at that. It's Jorge George's. Whatever. Jorge George.
It's whatever.
Doesn't matter,
whatever
right?
is right. It doesn't matter. I tell people it's George as long as we're speaking English. I got used to answering to George because of all the rednecky places where I lived. They didn't know from Jorge, and thank goodness, because they said Jorge, and it's like, yeah, that's not working for me.
Well, I call Jack. I made sure that they took the C out of it, by the way.
Thank you.
Caught that
Thank you.
typo.
Yeah, I read that.
Is that on your
Said
birth
Jack.
certificate?
No.
Is that like a rapper thing? Is that like changing the name because you're a rapper? I think because I did.
No,
nobody wants to call me.
It's actually spelled the correct way.
What is? Oh, your name?
Yeah,
Well, I would
my
keep
stage
it.
name.
I would keep it like that. I see.
J.A.K. See, I noticed that typo.
And Jack
There
Frost.
they had
See,
it
the guy
wrong.
doesn't have to change his name. That's how pretentious Jack is. I don't have to change my name, but I'm going to anyway because my name is horrible. I have a great excuse for changing my name. George is a horrible name. That's why my rapper name is Fatty Meats.
Fatty Meats.
That's
But
right.
I thought you didn't like fatty meats.
Yeah.
No. I that's the part of the comedy of it. You see,
You just missed the joke.
and
He kind of hit you at one.
I got it.
Yeah.
But boom.
Boom. But I just don't like the fat on the meat.
On the meat.
But I like fatty meats. Does that make like bacon?
That sounds-
or cold cuts, like a nice salami.
Look at that.
No, because it had
Slim
another
Jim.
connotation
Gotta
to
utilize
it.
this, Frederick.
You like fat meat?
Sausage. I don't like meat with fat on it.
Bring the ad in, please. I'm serious. I need them to start seeing this. We got to support, Cahootsies. There you go.
And look,
Good job.
and our ad is right on the other side of
Their
it.
ad's on the other side. Look at that. You can come
Look at that.
in
It
here
looks like
anytime
an
you
album
want.
cover.
Yeah.
And toilet paper.
Super.
How can people find your films, Fred?
Amazon.
Amazon,
Just
really.
type my name in Amazon.com.
So
There you
Fred
go.
Salaff, Salaff.
Right.
And
You'll see Passage to Panama. That the other ones are probably
I wanna
not
see
on
that.
there. Like the films I made for governments. I made a film for the government of Jamaica back maybe 25 years ago about the history and the cultural heritage of Jamaica. I made it for the United Nations.
because this is if I was the Jamaican government, this is who I would hire to do a film.
Hey, when we were down there, you should have seen. We were down in Jamaica. Fred and I and Kenny. Have you guys met
I have
Kenny?
a Rastafarian wig. that I wear when I hang out.
Do you
with
remember
Jamaican.
Kenny from G's place? Because he's born there.
It's the only black guy in there.
Yeah.
Until I walked
until
in.
Jack
Until you
walks.
came
Yeah.
in. And then now, Christ, they're everywhere.
So I take it you got
Fridays. I'm very fond
So
of Jamaica. I have
I've never-
a big
never-
love affair with Jamaica. I even
never
have
been
the
there either.
keys to the city of Moortown, Jamaica, which was one of the two cities that was founded by the runaway slaves in the 18th century.
Oh.
Did you smoke a lot of weed while you were in Jamaica?
No, I don't smoke. It hurts my throat.
I
I tried
did.
it once in the University of Texas, and people said you smoked the wrong shit. So
Probably, yeah.
you probably did,
Yeah.
but I don't have a big.
so
I'm willing to try
the,
again.
The vaporizers now are very popular with the people who are bothered by the smoke.
Yeah.
So
No, it was in my throat. I got
Yeah.
an itchy, sore throat from
Right,
the
but the
weed.
vaporizers, it vaporizes rather than smoke, so there's no smoke particles, and a lot of people.
I like Cuban
listen to their
cigars.
throats.
I
well,
like my Cohibas.
That's how I know I'm Cuban. Is I like the cigars, the food, and big
you're
ass,
a hypocrite.
big ass
Come on,
women.
You're supposed to be. If you
I
don't
know.
go to Cuba and you smoke a Cohiba, you are a 100% hypocrite.
I
There
don't.
You have it.
I don't go to Cuba, and I don't smoke Cohibas. I smoke Monte Cristos, and the families that left, they set up shop in Tampa, Honduras, Dominican Republic. I smoke
So they're
those.
ersatz.
They're ersatz Cohibas,
There
right?
You go. There you go.
No, I'm not a hypocrite because I'm all for lifting the embargo. I'm all for normal relations. And what I say to my family that gets me in so much trouble is, yeah, what you say. Yeah, acknowledged what you say. But you cannot discount that the situation in Cuba right now is not a result of communist policies. It's a result of an embargo. Nobody will ever know if Castro's policies would have worked if not for external activity, the embargo,
Of course,
United States
correct.
activities. So you can't say that what he did was a failure. He didn't get a chance to try his system out. That's what I say to my family members.
It's a very good response. But your family and the diehards are dwindling in numbers.
Oh, they're
the
dying.
The new generation Cubans, fourth generations that are here already are just with the program. Let's go to Cuba. The first step that should be done is drop the travel restriction. So that suddenly the island is filled with another million gringos from America, not from Canada,
right?
And making all kind of monetary demands.
And by
we
the way,
want more toilet paper, more beer, more ketchup.
As a Floridian and as someone who's proud of Florida history and my family's role in Florida history. My family has lived in Tampa. My grandparents were all born in New York. But the whole reason that Florida exists the way that it is was because Henry Flagler wanted to get to Cuba faster, and so that's why he built the railroad, and that's why we have all these coastal towns, and it's all because of Cuba. We're supposed to be involved with each other. Florida and Cuba are supposed to be partners in crime, partners in piracy, partners in rum running, partners in prostitution. But
don't you think it's kind of ironic that I can get on a plane? Forget about me. Kent can get on a plane and fly to Pyongyang, Korea, without restriction.
Right.
But he can't get on a plane and fly to Havana
without
violating.
Got to go to
American
Toronto
law.
and fly there.
Well, forget how he gets there.
Right. Sure,
he's not allowed to go, but he can go to. He can go to North Korea.
I am also discontented with the state of those affairs. I also disagree with the embargo, and I'm someone who used to believe in the embargo. But it's like, if for no other reason, if it didn't work, it's not working, it's having not the effect that you wanted it to have. It's making people suffer. Castro obviously hasn't gone anywhere and isn't going to go anywhere until they carry him out in a box, and then it's just going to be his brother. So the embargo was a failed policy. It's a failed method, and the country, especially Havana, the country that so many of my family used to be proud of and used to brag about, the city with all the opulence that they used to brag about, is now in ruins because of your damn embargo, buddy. All right, that's why everything needs a paint job.
You say that it's in ruins. Again,
well,
you're making a
old Havana. It's generalization. Right. I'm talking about like the what they used to brag about, the buildings and the establishments in the old Havana. Because you did a film of the restoration project.
I worked not only in old Havana, but in Havana itself, including Central Havana, and the rebuilding that's been done through the help of UNESCO, and now other foreign governments. It's the U.S. that has never been in the right side of anything regarding Cuba, is now being rebuilt. So the buildings are being restored, albeit slowly, one at a time, because there's not a lot of money to do the job. But it's being rebuilt. Yes, a lot has collapsed through
but it wouldn't be in such disrepair if not for the embargo. Is my point.
Well, the show is
and I'm glad
over.
The show's almost over. As a matter of fact, it's winding up quick. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Fred, and of course, Kent Wallace. Julie J. Rock, nuts to you for shining us, babe. See you on the next one. We got the. I would say we got the She's Only Rock and Roll She Play coming up next, but that's not. That's on hold right now because Alan is in the hospital. Feel better, Alan. All right, the spot tonight. This is the spot with Jack Frost at 7.
The heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.